Where it stops, no one knows. We're going head into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
Hello, 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 everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Criminality, or if this is your first time here, welcome to Criminality. If you notice, I didn't start the live muted. I almost did, but I caught myself. So, much better than yesterday. Back in the swing of things. My plan today was actually to be live covering Megan Boswell. And of course, Delphi just has to come in and drop some documents, so that we're going to have to talk about that. But just really quick, I know some of you guys are following the Megan Boswell case, so I just want to give you a quick update. They have seated a jury of 14. It's 8 men, 6 women, and they have been sent home today to get their stuff together, and they will be sequestered starting tomorrow. And the opening statements and the state's case in chief will start at approximately 9 a.m. tomorrow. That's a Tennessee case. If you guys aren't familiar with it, we did like a 3.5-hour live yesterday going through all the details of it. So tomorrow is the beginning of the Megan Boswell trial. It is going to be aired on Court TV and the local news stations. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry, husband needed me for something. Okay, so back to Megan Boswell. So tomorrow, trial starts. I'm going to do my best to, I think I'm going to stream it. I think I'm probably going to stream it. It's supposed to be 2 to 4 weeks. I think I'm going to stream it. It's such a commitment. You guys know how my life is, and so I'm just so nervous about committing to it. Like commitment phobia. Anyway, I think we're going to stream it. I think that's what we're going to do. I'm going to talk to Sleuthy, and we'll work it out. Because Thursday is going to be really tough for me because I won't even be around to be on the stream whatsoever at all to control anything. And we were going to be doing one of the hearings, which obviously we're not going to be doing now, and which kind of sucks. But hopefully you guys were able to watch it on your own. I had dropped a bunch of links for you guys to watch it. So we're going back to Delphi today. I don't know how long we'll stay in Delphi, but we're going to go back to Delphi for at least today. So a couple things happened today, and we're going to talk about that. The biggest one being that the state responded to the motion to correct error, and NBC, more specifically Dateline from NBC, has requested the exhibits, and so they were denied them, and now they're actually filing for the judge to be like, hey, you don't have a right to deny these. So we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about that first, because I have read through all of that. Now, here's the disclaimer on this. I have not actually read the motion or the response to the motion to correct error. I have heard you guys talking about it in the chats, but I haven't actually read it myself yet. So you're going to get the raw version of this. And I don't think Sleuthy's actually read it yet either. So she's going to come up in a little bit. So let me say hi to you guys. Oh yeah, Blind React, because I haven't read it yet. I have it. Thank you to Tammy for sending it to me. But I haven't read it. So, I've just been doing, crazy life stuff today. So that's where we're at. So let me say hi to you guys, and we're going to get started, and we'll start on the NBC stuff. So, hey with all, I was over props, but I don't know. I can't concentrate. I didn't know he was live. I have not listened to anybody talk about it. So, it's Blinkies. You're gonna have a stroke? Oh shit, catastrophe, great. Oh yeah, the raw sarcasm. Oh shit. It's gonna be that bad, huh? Hi Fiend, hi Chelsea. I only caught the end of R&M. Okay, so she already went live. That's good. That's who I was actually worried about because she does later ones sometimes. Hey MB, it says exactly what you think it would say. The defense is lying. We have all these recorded, but we can't seem to find all these recorded interviews. Let me see what else. These are my guesses. The Brad Weber stuff is bullshit, and Richard Allen was really scared of a van. I mean, I think that might be it. Oh, Mika's headphones is like it's bad. Hey, Callie. Hey, Sunday. Thank you, Teresa. You put the tea in the community. Thank you. Aloha. Okay, let me see. Let me go up a little bit so I can say hi to who else is here. Sleuthy just popped in. I saw her up there. Hey, Thomas. Thomas made a fantastic GIF of our hot dog shuttle guy from yesterday. He put it in the Delphi chat. If you haven't seen it, hop in there and see it in the Facebook group. Hey, Judge Jessica, Legal Lacey, fresh reactions from T. True Crime Fangirl, what's up? Hi, Greenie. Good to see you. Hi, Mar. Between Law and Laughs. I've heard nothing about that one. Maybe I'll watch it without outside chatter to give an opinion. Oh, that would be good. There you go. That's the Megan Boswell case he's talking about. Mar. I already said hi to Mar. Hi, Sally. Look who's live. The Indiana girl. Thierry. Hey, Estrella. Hey, Samantha. Hey, Marissa. Lily B. What's up, Post Punk? Hey, Simply Bell. Boswell is a very sad mom killing her door. I know. I'm just really worried about how she's going to blame the family. But we'll see. We'll see. Hey, Ariel. So glad I'm in time for this because the fuck? The fuck? What's up, Thorntown? Marianne. I hope the jury has common sense too, but we don't know how they're going to present the case. So we'll see. I followed that one from day one. Unindicted. Okay, let me pop that back down here. I haven't heard of that. Oh, you hadn't heard of that case? Okay, well, I did a big live on it yesterday going through all the things. So if you don't know anything, you can go listen to that, or you can just listen to the trial fresh and give a perspective based on what, just what testimony you're hearing. I'm thankful for the fact that we're actually able to watch the trial on the Megan Boswell case because, Delphi. Simply said. Hey, Gray Space. What's up, Jen? Hey, Just Deb. Okay. Hey, carry on. All right. Let me see. So let's pull this up. Let's get started. Some people were asking for an update on the pup. He is, I think he's better, but it's such a small amount of better that I don't really know if I would say better. I can tell you that he's not crying constantly, which is a huge relief because that's so anxiety, whatever. But he's just not great. I mean, he's not back to normal yet at all by any means. He's very, very far from normal. He's not really eating. They actually had told me to give him cat food because it's like a snack for them, because dogs aren't supposed to actually have cat food because it's got so much protein. But they were like, if he's not eating, he will eat cat food because that's just what they want to do. Well, they think that it's a gastrointestinal infection is what they think is wrong with him. But I don't know. I'm just worried because he's 12 and a half and he's a Schnauzer. And if you guys are familiar with that breed, they get really bad pancreatitis and they have terrible kidneys. And he has a history of kidney stones, which he doesn't have currently. But I don't know. I mean, he's definitely better, but peanut butter. That's probably a good one too. I could give him some peanut butter. Yeah, maybe I'll try that too. Yeah, he wants nothing to do with the dog food. No dry, no wet, no nothing. Just smells it and it's like, nope, I'm not having it. Boiled chicken and rice. I might have to try that too. So yeah, he doesn't really want to eat too much. But I mean, he's on all kinds of medicine too. I mean, they gave him like painkillers, stuff for nausea, antibiotics. I have to do fluids in his neck every day for the next week. So Pumpkin also. Okay, good. I love Schnauzers. So cute with their eyebrows. Yeah, he doesn't look very cute right now. He actually looks homeless. Like I almost felt bad when I took him to the vet because I'm like, this isn't what he normally looks like. but he just looks like a little homeless dog because he's white and he just doesn't feel good. And so I'm like, I can't give him a bath, poor baby. I know. So anyway, enough about my puppy. He's down here. He's resting. He's looking at me right now like, what are you talking about, lady? What are you talking about? So, but she thinks it's gastrointestinal. I'm telling you, like, I really thought, like, I went in there with the thought that I was saying goodbye to him. Like, that's what I thought was happening. And she was like, nope. Yeah, here's me being a vet. I know. Like, here to save the day. Try. I don't know. I hope that my mom makes homemade dog food with rice and chicken for her needy dogs with pancreatitis. Maybe maybe you could get a recipe and send it to me. Don't know how old he is, but I let my beagle go longer than I should have because I couldn't make that decision. Waiting was worse for him and us. I can't even tell you my experience of having to put down animals just in general. I'm an animal lover. I've had animals my entire life. I don't think I've ever actually lived longer than 6 months without an animal, whether it be a cat or a dog. I just love them. I'm the one. Okay, we're gonna go on a side tangent here. Anybody who wants Delphi, you're gonna just have to wait for a hot second. So I had a meeting about 2 weeks ago in a town that's probably, I don't know, it's only like 15 miles, but traffic here, probably 15, 20 miles away. Anyway, so I'm driving home, and if you guys are familiar with California at all, I'm driving down PCH, which is the big highway that's right next to the ocean. So like you drive down and like the ocean's on the one side of you, and it's just a huge highway. So I'm driving down the highway, and I just left this meeting, so I'm all dressed up. I've got heels on. I'm all dressed up. Let me just say, I'm all dressed up, and all of a sudden I see this dog that is running down the side of the road on PCH. So big highway, like you're talking 5 lanes on each side. So 10 lane total, approximately. Pacific Coast Highway, yeah. And there's a dog just running. Booking it. He's like, you could tell he's been running a while. He's like slobbering and he's just running. And I'm like, mother fudger, dude, I can't. That's not who I am. I'm the person who stops. If there's a dog out there, I'm going to stop. I'm the person who leaves on the 4th of July if there's a dog running in the neighborhood because it's scared of fireworks. I miss all the fireworks. And yeah, yes, between law and laughs. That's literally what you're about to find out. So this is like my husband gets so mad at me. He's like, you got to stop doing this. And I'm like, I can't. I don't know. It's inside of my body. I would not be able to live with myself if I didn't stop. Like once I see it, it's mine, and that's how it goes. I know that that's crazy. Like okay, you guys, like I'm the person who goes to like the pound, adopts a dog just to go find it another home that I can give the dog to. Like that's where I live. I don't know why. I don't know whatever happened to me in my life that made me that way, but that's who I am. So anyway, so this dog is booking it. You can tell, like I said, he's been running for a long time, and I'm like, oh, and he's probably a medium-sized dog. He kind of looks like he's definitely a mutt, but he's short-haired, and he's just running. And I'm like, son of a bitch, this is PCH. It's fucking busy. Like, I cannot leave this dog here. I can't do it. Like, I'm getting all like worked up right now just telling you guys this story. So anyway, I'm like, well, what am I gonna do? Like there's tons of traffic. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I like try to like cut the dog off. Like it's running on the side of the road, so that's a positive. It's in the road. It's not on the sidewalk. And so I'm like, I'm gonna cut the dog off. Like if I just cut in front of the dog, like the dog will have to stop, and then I can open the door and the dog will jump in. Well, no, this dog is like freaked out because it's obviously been running like a really, really long time, and it will not stop running. So like I turn my hazard lights on, and I'm like trying to get over so I can get the dog. I'm like getting out of the car and like running after the dog, but then the dog is way faster than me. And so like I'm getting back in the car, and I've got my hazards on, and I'm like driving real slow. And then there's other people that are like driving real slow around me. And obviously this isn't like my hometown, so I don't know like anybody around me. And I'm like, these people are going to get pissed. And so I was like, oh shit. Like people are going to start like cussing me out, because I'm like totally holding up traffic because I'm like trying to make it so people can't get to the side where the dog is because I don't want them to hit him. And these other cars start slowing down, and then so there ends up being like 2 trucks and 2 like little cars, like I don't know, like compact cars. And now we're all slowing down, and they all turn their hazards on. And I was like, oh my God, I love this town. And they all turn their hazards on, and they're all like trying to help me like catch this dog. I'm talking miles of this going on. And we cannot get this dog. Like, nobody's getting this dog. And then the dog does the worst thing possible and decides to cut out into traffic. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, like the dog's going to get hit. Like I'm literally going to have to watch this dog get hit, and I'm not going to be able to handle it. I have that experience in my life too. And it's really, really bad. I'm like, I am going to lose my shit. So like, I'm like weaving traffic through like these 5 lanes, and the dog is still going like across the lanes, and I'm like weaving traffic to like block traffic. So the dog, as it's running, like my car is right behind the dog, and I'm like, I'm gonna get in an accident. Like, the dog's gonna get hit in front of me, or I'm gonna get hit. Like, something's gonna happen. And so these other cars are still coming with me. There's 2 trucks that are really staying with me and like trying to help out. I think the cars end up leaving at that, like right around that time. Well, then the dog it continues to cross over, you guys, into oncoming traffic. I about died. Literally, I actually probably about died, because I decided that I was going to slam on my horn and cut off the oncoming traffic so they could not hit the dog. I mean, they were just coming off of a stoplight, so nobody was driving like super fast. So let me just say, like, I wasn't like, hey, right in front of like a bunch of oncoming traffic. But so I see them. I see the light turn green, and I'm like, shit, they're coming. So like, I get in front of those cars, and I'm like honking my horn like there's a dog like running straight at you guys. Let's see my anxiety's like going crazy. So anyway, fine. I know, it's like so stupid. When I tell my husband this story, he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You could have gotten yourself killed. I'm like, I would rather get my car hit than have this dog get hit in front of me. Because I knew that, like I said, they weren't like going really fast. They were just coming off the stoplight. So anyway, so then the dog turns down the neighborhood, like into a neighborhood. I'm like, okay, we can definitely do this now. So now it's only me and the 2 trucks. Everybody else had left us. And so I'm like, okay, there's the truck that's coming like over here. It's just like, now it's just a regular street in a community. So the guy's coming over here. And so I speed ahead of the dog, who's running straight down the middle of the road, still as fast as he can. And I cut the dog off, because I'm like, okay, I can take up essentially I can take up the whole street, and he'll have to come to me. Well, no, because then the dog decides to go up on the fucking sidewalk. And so one truck stops behind me. I'm stopped like sideways, and the dog goes right up on the sidewalk and just takes off. Mind you, I'm still in fucking heels. So I'm like, shit. So we get back in the car, and then he takes off, and he like makes a right, and then he makes an immediate left. And there's a school there, so it's all fenced in. And so I'm like, perfect. So then I cut up in front of the dog again, and I cut it off. And then the guy comes up, and he parks like this way with me. And then the other truck comes up behind me towards the sidewalk. So we got the dog like blocked in. It was exhausting. I literally spent more time chasing this dog than I did at the meeting that I actually had. I had a job interview. It was a job interview, and I was chasing a dog. So yeah. So teamwork. So there was these 2 guys, they were young guys, and I was like, I love you guys, and thank you so much for caring about this dog, because most people don't. And then, but like there was like a whole team of us, and the one guy had he actually had like a dog lead from his dogs in his car, and he was like, I'll take the dog. And we finally got it calmed down, gave it some water. It was such a sweet boy. He was just a young pup, but he was so sweet. No, I did not take the dog with me. Thank God, because my husband would have been like, what the hell's going on? So anyway, I don't even know how I got here with this whole story, but this is what happened. And so it was crazy. And I can tell you right now, my feet hurt for like 3 days after that. I was like, that was the stupidest thing I ever did. But we got the dog, and the dog was fine, and he took the dog with him. And so I was like, and I totally trusted in them taking the dog, because like I said, for miles down Pacific Coast Highway, they were like right with me, like going, like doing stupid shit like I was doing, trying to save the dog. So dog was safe. Dog got some water. Dog went. Hopefully they were going to find his home. I don't know what happened, but I was like, I trust you to take the dog because you put yourself out there. Just like that. Listening to the story was exhausting. Sorry. Anyway, we saved the dog, and it took a really long time, and we did it. But that's just like, I can't handle. So I've done like the whole thing with the dogs and cats. I've put tons of them down, too many to count. I'm the weird person. Just if you guys want a little side personal information, I have all my animals cremated. I have their ashes. I know people think it's weird. My husband thinks it's weird. I don't know what to tell you. It's just part of it. It's just who I am. And I know that there's a time where you have to make that choice, and it's not about me, and it's about them. And I really thought that that's where we were at. So like when I called them, they were like, do you want to try to save them? I'm like, I don't think you can. I don't think we're at the point where you can. So I just want, you guys to know, like, that's what we're coming in expecting. And so we did. So I took him in on Sunday, and the doc was actually the one that was like, I don't think it's time. And I was like, really? Like, well, what do you think? And she was like, I think that we can do some things here. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I'm like I'm not going to go into all the details, but like I was already like I was prepping my own mental health, that this is what my day was going to consist of. And she was like, no, she's like, just give me just a few days to see if I can change things and flip it around. Normally, like my question for the vets is typically, if this was your animal, what would you do? Because that you can kind of gauge, like when they're like, if you know. So you had your snakes cremated? That's kind of crazy. How he is 12 and a half. So I have 3 dogs. Technically 2, because my husband has the 3rd, but still mine. I have 2 schnauzers, and my husband has a mutt. That's Ursa. So when you guys, all the members who have the Ursa, she has 1 blue eye, 1 brown eye. That's the big dog. And then I have my little dogs that are typically right here at my feet every time I'm live. And they're both schnauzers. So really, I have 3 kids. Each dog was supposed to belong to 1 kid when we got them. So Zane is actually my 16-year-old son. It's supposed to be his dog, but he was 4, and the dog likes me better. So it ends up being mine. And Nova, my other schnauzer, is supposed to be my daughter, Kaylee's. And once again, same kind of thing. So, and then Jeremy, my tiny human, he loved the dog when she was a puppy. He still loves her, and he'll play with her, but he is a cat guy. He really, really likes cats. And so when we had to put our cat down, he wanted me to get another cat, and we got Ursa, and he was kind of disappointed. He was like, I really wanted another cat. So, all right. I'm going to have to timestamp this so that anybody who comes in, you guys don't have to listen to that entire thing, but that's where we're at. So right now, just giving him all the medicine that they gave me to give him, and just doing my best to make sure that he has a fighting chance. And we bury Ashley's with us in our family. So that's interesting, Candy, because that's what my mom wants. That's what my mom wants. She wants all the dogs. My dog had a history of pancreatitis and kidney issues. Boiled chicken, add rice and peas, serve it warm, small amounts, several times a day. Mine lived to 17. Okay, I'm going to do this. Somebody else had mentioned that too. I have a brother named Zane. It's such a cool name. His name is Zane from, you guys, if you have kids that are about 16, you might know it, but there's a Lego show called Ninjago, and it was about like little samurai Lego guys, and the white one was named Zane, and we got a white dog, and so he named it Zane. So that's where it came from. Thank you for rooting for my pup. Thank you guys for caring, and thank you guys for listening to that really long story that was exhausting. All right, let's move on and actually talk about what we're here to talk about. Let me get my shit together over here. You have a grandson named Zane? Boiled chicken, brown rice, and pumpkin. Okay. When I get done with this tonight, I'll run and get some. Oh, I don't even have anything up yet. That's not going to work. I am Team Cat. The smallest child of T. I'm sorry you didn't get another cat. There's always room for one more cat. I know. Well, see, look at me. Look at me helping you stay healthy, Hudis. Look at me. It was exhausting. I'm not in the best shape to be doing that anymore in my life. But you do what you got to do. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the fact that we have, like I said, NBC, more specifically Dateline, their attorneys filed for limited appearance in the case because they have requested the exhibits from trial and are being told they cannot have them, along with the rest of us. We're all basically being told that we can't have them. T thinks she or any of us know how to get our shit together. It's so true. It's so true. My cat is sleeping next to me. Aw. Oh, Charlie. Yes. I love Charlie. I'd take Charlie. Oh, that's another issue about the whole cat situation is I want a hairless one. And I want like a Sphynx. And my family's like, that's weird. And no, we're not doing that. So other than that, I only like rag dolls. I mean, I love all cats, but I really like rag dolls because they're just so chill with having kids. And that's what my last cat was. Okay, so NBC, limited appearance by the attorneys. So I'm just going to read through it really quickly. Most of you guys have already seen this. Hey, Carrie, thank you for the memberships. Welcome to the new members of Criminality. These attorneys from NBC Universal Media are applying to have limited appearance because of the fact, like I said, that they had asked for these exhibits and are being told no. This is pretty simplistic right here. So let's go to the exhibits because what they put in here was all the email exchanges between themselves and the court clerks, which is Jody. We're all very familiar with Jody because that's our contact for where we get all of our transcripts and all of our information from, essentially when it comes to the trial stuff. And he also put it into Sharon from Carroll County. So she's the Carroll County clerk and Jody's the Allen County clerk. So he essentially just put in a bunch of the emails. So here we have, I think I'm going to start at the bottom. Let me go back down. So he just says, like, Miss Williams, like under the Indiana access, to public records, Dateline is requesting copies of the public records that were presented as evidence in the recent trial of Richard Allen. Richard Allen was convicted and has been sentenced, essentially saying, hey, the case is done, so there's no reason that we can't have these. Understanding that some records remain sealed under the Judge Gold's orders, i.e. crime scenes, autopsy photos, that we would not consider publishing. We would like you to prioritize the release of any and all of the recorded police interviews with Richard Allen, the video and the audio, any and all recorded prison phone calls between Richard Allen, his wife, and his mother. The requested information is in the public interest and is critical to the public's understanding of the case against Richard Allen and his defense. The Indiana Access to Public Records Act requires a response time within 7 business days. We would be very grateful if you would let us know when to expect copies. I like their positive thinking here. Hey, Jer, please also let us know if you require us to supply computer drives. If you deny any or all of this request, please cite each specific exemption justifying the refusal to release the information and notify me of the appeal procedures available to me under the law. Thank you for your assistance with this request. So then he attaches all the requests. And then she responds. She says, I am in receipt of your request for the release of the exhibits. Perhaps at some point in the future, media may be permitted to view the exhibits that are not sealed and confidential pursuant to Indiana rules of public access or court order at a time and date that the court determines. But it would be after the filing of the transcript. This is what we were told too, remember. Well, initially we were told we could get copies of the exhibits after trial, and then once trial was completed and we tried to get them again, this is what we're being told. Sorry, I got a tickle. Okay, so pursuant to the Indiana rules of public access or court order at a time and date the court determines, but it would be after the filing of the transcript with the Indiana Court of Appeals, as the exhibits are required for that purpose. We've talked about this. We're not taking the exhibits. Like they're not going to like not have the exhibits any longer if they give them out publicly. Like that's just not how it works. We get copies of the exhibits, so what they have attached to the transcript is still theirs. We're not going to take them. It's such a crazy thing to me. So then he responds with, hey, good afternoon, Jody. Thank you so much for your prompt response. Is there a way to know when the transcript will be filed? Best wishes. Which this is like, I could show you guys my emails with her. This is almost essentially the exact same thing. I don't cite it all very nicely like that. I'm just like, hey, I want this stuff, and public records says I can have it, so can I have it? But he's much more professional than I am about it. I'm not rude. I don't use all the big words. So anyway, but she told me that she has no timeline on when she's going to have this transcript done. So that essentially telling us like, hey, too bad. They're all going to be attached to this in the transcripts for appeal, and we're not going to be giving them out. It just does not make any sense. So this is through Carroll County. Like I said, the other one was to Jody, and this one's now to Sharon Milburn. So same thing, essentially, the 2 recorded police interviews with Richard Allen, the recorded prison phone calls between Richard Allen and his wife and his mother, and the 43-second cell phone video clip recorded by Liberty German. This wasn't in the other request. And here cites the same thing. Access to public records requires a response time. And if we can't have it, like, let us know essentially why. Yeah, give us the BG video. So she emails back and she's like, I have received your request for the documents, and all documents listed below would have to be requested through Jody Williams, Allen County. These documents may or may not be available, and that will be up to the judge. But I don't know how the judge can just overrule Indiana code. I don't get it. It cites that the public is allowed access to it. But no, they don't want to give it to us. So at least now there's somebody involved. And the reason I want to talk about this is there is somebody involved who's like, oh, fuck no, we're going to figure out exactly what's going on. It's called Portland Pet Company. Thank you, Clyde. I hope I'm going to write that down. You know, somebody who can go in there and be like, no, you're going to tell us legally why you won't give us access to these exhibits. There's no reason the public can't see them. Because Dateline's going to put, especially if they're going to try to charge the public for them, like, shit, let the mainstream media people get them. I'm fine with that. We'll just use their shit. So Lawyer Lee, if you guys are all familiar with Lawyer Lee, she was at the trial. She was there every day. She still covers it when there's new stuff that comes out. But so she has posted and publicly stated that she is going to do this essentially every day. Her goal is to try to make this go viral, where they cannot ignore the fact that the public wants access to these records. So she, on Twitter, if you guys are on Twitter or X, whatever the hell you want to call it, she has a tweet and she says she's going to be doing it almost every day that she can until we can get some resolution. Once again, there's another lawyer in our corner. As we know, we got Bob Mata, that's always been in the corner of everything should be public, and Andrea Burkhart, who's filed to have everything public, and then you still have them telling us no. So, but here she is. So it was day 85 since Richard Allen was convicted of murdering 2 girls, but the Delphi trial exhibits still have not been released to the public. Like and share to let the Indiana courts know that we haven't forgotten. There are critical reasons why virtually all trial exhibits are considered public records in Indiana and throughout the U.S. Transparency, number 1. Ironic. Ensuring that the judicial system is open and accountable, especially in cases like Richard Allen's where the public has raised questions. Number 2, fairness, to protect the right to a fair trial, even in serious cases like murder. Number 3, the First Amendment. To preserve free speech, the quality of free speech depends on the quality of the information on which it is based. Number 4, public trust, which this is the biggest issue with this whole fucking case, is I don't trust these people at all to ever do the right thing. Confidence in the Indiana judicial system has been shaken. That's an understatement, Lawyer Lee. Courts need to open up in order to regain that trust. Number 5 is deterrence. Public access lets the public see the evidence and how law enforcement handled the case, keeping everyone accountable. They don't want that. They do not want accountability. They want secrecy. They don't want transparency. They want everything to stay hidden or deleted. They don't want the public to know anything. I think even looking back on it now, they never wanted the public to know anything. They fed us bullshit for years, long before Richard Allen was ever arrested. They made shit up. They changed stuff whenever it was convenient for them. They don't want the public to know the truth about the case. And I know that there are people out there who have ultimate faith in the fact that Richard Allen is the guy who did it, and so on and so forth. And I'm just at the point where, and I don't mean this in a crude way, I don't care, because nothing that has led up to this conviction is constitutional in my opinion. And if he's the guy that did it, then why the fuck couldn't they go about it the right way? Why at this point in time, now that they've already got their conviction, they've already sentenced the man to 130 years in prison, stuck him back in the prison that they know tortured him because they watched the videos, why are they still fucking hiding everything? Like, make that make sense. This is not normal for somebody, and I'm not an attorney, and here's the disclaimer on that. I have followed a ton of trials. I have filed a ton of FOIA requests. I have gotten responses from many, many people when it comes to FOIA requests. This case is unlike anything else. Once the case is done, there's no reason that they cannot have copies of everything sent out to the public. It's unheard of that they have to keep everything tied to a transcript for the appeal. Not to mention, the courtroom was open, so none of those are technically sealed. And I understand that I think at the end, I think it was Nick who requested to have the autopsies and the crime scene photos sealed. Fine. But nothing is actually filed. Nothing is actually under seal anymore. There is no gag order. There is no legal reason for the public to not have access to the exhibits. The public that was in the courtroom already saw these exhibits. The media that was in the courtroom was allowed to stay after and see the exhibits. They can be put out. There's no reason to hide them under this attachment to the transcript. And you notice, like, that lawyer was like, hey, tell us, or Justin, I think he was the producer, but then the lawyers came in later. But like, tell us the legal reasons why we can't have these exhibits. What is the law stating? And he also asked, and if you're going to deny it, please tell me what my appellate choices are, under the Indiana law, because like, this isn't right. Nobody responds with anything about that. Nobody tells this person, nobody tells Justin like, oh, hey, you'd have to go through the judge and get her to approve it, blah, 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 or anything. Nothing. It's just too fucking bad. We told you can't have them until the transcript is done, but we have no idea when the transcript is going to be done. That's just outrageous to me. They don't want us to see or know what truly went on. That's where I'm at. There's no reason for them to be in Allen County. Sure, the transcript because she was the clerk, but this is a Carroll County case records. It should be through Carroll County. Anything that's part of the actual like discovery process or the evidence that they actually compiled against him should be. I understand the difference between the quote unquote exhibits versus like us asking for essentially anything under FOIA through Carroll County, like exhibits, because it's assigned to that judge with that clerk. But I think they still do that shit on purpose. I think they still do that shit up. They're like, they mess it all up because they don't want you to know. When people have been requesting through like Carroll County, the sheriff's department, through the Delphi police department, they're being told no, based on the fact that, and I have the email from the judge where the judge is saying, no, we're not going to be doing anything until, because everything is tied up in the appellate situation. Well, that's not true, because we can get other information. We can get case or information from other cases that are still tied up in the appellate process or are about to be in the appellate process. It's definitely on purpose. And then Doug Carter has like the balls to actually come out in that press conference and be like, we want everybody to know the truth. we want everybody to see the truth, and to stop with all the, what did he call it? The rhetoric. But it's like, no, you don't want people to know the truth, and you keep fucking hiding everything, and everything you've ever told us is a fucking lie. Like, why even if you came out and said everything that you think you know now, Nobody fucking believes you. Yeah, we aren't corrupt. We aren't liars. We tell the truth. Bullshit. This whole thing, just like I said, just gets me so irritated at this point. I'm just like, I don't even, I don't know. I'm so thankful that there are people who have the legal background to be able to come in and start saying, hey, no, what you're doing is not okay. And you need to actually tell us the reasons you're doing it so that we can file the proper appeals. I mean, this goes back to the very first writ that Kara Winnicky, was it Kara? I don't even know if Kara filed that one. Did Kara file that one? I think she was part of it, but that other lady, I don't remember her name. Sarah? Shit, what was her name? Megan? God damn it, I don't remember. But anyway, the first one where they go to the Supreme Court and they're like, hey, she, if she wants to seal things or she wants to not put things on the docket, she still has to have a placeholder in there that tells the legal reason why she's actually not putting it on there. Like, this is the same concept. She just doesn't want to do that. There's no legal reason for her to be doing anything. So she just is like, nope, sorry, not going to do it. And I don't owe you a response. Travis says, FOIA for investigative materials in Indiana is non-existent, completely discretionary. Exhibits should be accessible now. No PFD filed first one. No, the first one, she was part of one of that, but the other lady was really the one who signed off on everything, Sleuthy. Who was that lady? Kara was involved in both of them, but there was another lady that did a lot of the work, and she's the one who signed off on it, and I can't remember her name. I don't know if it matters. Yeah, I want NBC to sue. Like, now you're talking, you got big people, you got money. Hi, DB. You got money coming in that's going to support them. Princess of fucking Darkness. What was her name, though? Is it Sarah? Maggie? What the heck is her name? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's really irrelevant. It's just because I forgot it. Now it's stuck in my head and it's pissing me off. Maggie Smith. Thank you, R&M. Yeah, it was Maggie. All I was saying it was one of those two. Yeah, Maggie Smith. Maggie. So I was like, Megan, what the hell was it? Anyway, it really doesn't matter. So anyway, my quest for you guys is to say, hey, go on Twitter. If you want, copy, paste it, put it on other social medias. Lawyer Lee said she really doesn't have a lot of other social medias. So she's putting it on Twitter. She hopes to be doing it every day. If not every day, then she's going to do it, as often as she possibly can, and is asking the public to continue to retweet it. Just making sure that we don't let them think that we've forgotten or that we don't care. So anybody who's on Twitter, it's just under Lawyer Lee, at Lawyer Lee W. So, and I also have retweeted it. So if you follow me on Twitter, then it's there. So that's what I have to say about that. Megan Fox, my favorite appellate attorney. And I fuck with NBC heavy because Bravo reality is life. Duh. Spookies. Hey, Amanda, I think I have an ulcer and a clotted habit. I follow you too, DB. I will follow you. Okay. So now on to the next one, which, once again, full disclaimer for anybody who wasn't here at the beginning of this live, I have not read this. I had read everything up to this, but I wasn't available to read it when I had to sit down and get ready for the live. So I figured, here we go. We're going to read it together. A lot of you guys have already read it, and but Grace Space, you're in for it. That's what I keep hearing. Buckle up, buckle up, buckle up. Yeah, I'm surprised that Court TV isn't coming in hotter because Vinnie Politan is pretty pissed about the whole Delphi, the commentary to the media and the public. Vinnie isn't too happy with Mr. Carter. Okay, so we have already gone through the motion to correct error. We were fortunate enough to have Sleuthy and Michael Osbrook come on when we went over it. So this is now the state's response. If my math is correct, I think today was actually the last day for Nick to file a response. There's Sleuthy.
I had to join for this. I'll listen to you read it to me.
Okay, yeah, because I haven't read it yet, so here we go.
Me either.
All right, is everybody ready? I know I saw you posted. I retweeted your tweet too. I was like, ooh. All right, let me take a drink. I'm probably going to need another Dr. Pepper for this.
We could probably switch off halfway if voice gets tired.
Okay, here we go. So state's response to the motion to correct error. Now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nicholas C. McClelland and respectfully objects to the defendant's motion to correct error and would ask the court to deny the same without a hearing. She's like, okay, Nick, no problem. I don't need to read anything else. You asked for it, so I gave it to you. Denied without a hearing. The defendant's motion does not warrant a motion to correct error because a motion for safekeeping filed by the Carroll County Sheriff is not a critical stage of the proceedings. And the evidence concerning Brad Weber, Ron Logan, and Stacey Eldridge is not newly discovered evidence to warrant a new trial. The state
Good. So right off rip, he admits that he knows about the Brad Weber stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't matter though.
Good.
Because it's not new. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Not relevant. First paragraph, not relevant, not new. Which was a big question. We talked to Osbrook about that when he was on here too, about like how is it considered new? What makes it new? Do you want to go through that real quick? Because I know you have a better on it.
So in terms of the Brad Weber stuff with the van, basically the argument in the motion to correct errors was that Nick knew that the van footage existed, so he knew what time Weber was driving down the road, which was after Libby's phone stopped moving forever. And so the argument is that the prosecutor has the responsibility of correcting testimony that's elicited that's incorrect. So it was his responsibility to correct that if he knew about the van footage and the time and the phone pinging at his parents' house at 2:50 or whatever it was. And so the other option is if Nick is saying, well, I couldn't have corrected it because I didn't know that this existed within the discovery. I had not seen it. Then it was new evidence because Nick had never seen it before. It is new to him. So he just struck this one argument.
If he had seen it, he should have corrected it because he knew it was bad information being given to the jury.
Right. So now that he's said that it's not new evidence, the only other explanation is that he knew about it and he allowed them to be misled anyway.
So not important though. It's not newly discovered evidence to warrant a new trial. The state would ask the court to consider the following. Number 1, safekeeping order and 6th and 14th Amendments. That the defendant claims that his 6th and 14th Amendments were violated because he was deprived counsel at the safekeeping proceeding on November 3rd.
He's such a dumbass.
I wish he would have put fucking hearing. I wish he would have. There isn't even a proceeding. There's nothing. There's nothing on the record about anything from November 3rd even happening besides that being signed.
And he obviously doesn't understand. That's not the argument. The argument is that he had an attorney and nobody notified that attorney that there was going to be any request for safekeeping. And even if he didn't have one, he was supposed to be served himself. And he wasn't.
Right. Well,
I should just let you read.
No, you're good. No, you're good. I just know a little bit of this because somebody mentioned it in the chat. And that proceeding was a critical stage where he was entitled to an attorney. The defendant further claims that since he did not have counsel at a hearing, the conviction should be overturned. The Indiana Code states that upon motion by the sheriff alleging that an inmate in a county jail awaiting trial is in danger of serious bodily injury or death, or represents a substantial threat to the safety of others, the court shall determine whether the inmate is in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death, or represents a substantial threat to the safety of others. If the court finds that the inmate is in danger of serious bodily injury or death, or represents God, how many times is he going to repeat this? It's like Baldwin wrote it. Represents a substantial threat to the safety of others, it shall order the sheriff to transfer the inmate to another county jail or to a facility of the Department of Correction. Okay. And this is what I get for not reading this beforehand. But I know that at one point we had gone over the fact that if the citing is that the inmate is at their own danger, it's a danger to themselves, they have the right to say they don't want to be transferred because of that. And
Well,
the safekeeping is not that he is a threat or a substantial threat to the safety of others. It's that that they're worried about his safety.
he's
Now I
just
feel like I need to
reiterating.
pull all that up. I'll do it after probably.
He's just reiterating that the sheriff can request safekeeping if he feels that the inmate is, in serious danger, and that the judge is allowed to determine it. But again, that's not providing the full context of everything. But okay,
Yeah,
because
hold on.
the sheriff, and maybe we're just jumping ahead because maybe he will talk about it. But the sheriff, yeah, sure, but he not that sheriff because he wasn't in his custody anymore.
Hold on. No inmates in the county jail in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death represent a substantial threat to themselves. Upon the motion by the sheriff, prosecuting attorney, defendant or his counsel, the attorney general, or the court. Okay, there's another one though that talks about that if it's just to himself, that he can decline it, and we've gone over that. Alleging that an inmate in a county jail awaiting trial is in danger of serious bodily injury. Oh my God, it's just so repeating the exact same thing. The court shall determine whether the inmate is in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death, or represents a substantial threat to the others. If the court finds that the inmate is in, oh my gosh, okay, so he just literally copy and pasted this shit.
Correct. Yes.
Oh fucker. Okay.
So maybe he'll move on to the fact that he was at the White County Jail and that was the sheriff.
Okay. So C, that the statute does not require the court to have a hearing to make this determination. The court can make this determination based on the motion alone. But can the court write the motion?
Well,
Does
we
anyone
haven't,
know that?
maybe.
That the defendant in this case was taken into custody on October 26th of 2022 and housed at the Carroll County Jail.
Okay,
An
so
initial,
that's truthful. So,
yep, an initial hearing held on October 28th, where the defendant entered a plea of not guilty. The court advised the defendant of his right to counsel, and the defendant notified the court that he would hire his own counsel. He at no time stated that he had counsel. See
so is
order
he,
herein attached as States Exhibit 1.
so I guess we can assume until we get to that part, unless he says it somewhere else, that he's going to pretend like he never spoke to an attorney.
Uh,
He's
okay.
so the whole purpose of that, he's saying he at no time stated he had no counsel. Well, that was covered under the fact that you were aware, and so was the sheriff, who both were there, that he did have an attorney.
Yeah,
So the
he at no
question,
time stated that he had counsel. Why didn't you state that he had counsel?
yeah. So the question becomes, did he have a responsibility to say that since he had knowledge of it? But he also didn't say he didn't have an attorney. You know what I mean?
He didn't. He just said, I'm going to hire my own. And here, the other thing is, though, is that the October 28th one isn't the critical stage. It's the one that, I mean, that's a totally separate thing. It's
November
the fact
3rd.
they had an attorney and they didn't let him know that he had an attorney, and they didn't notify the attorney of the safekeeping or Richard Allen of the safekeeping.
Oh, I see a lie right now.
Have we got there yet?
I spy a lie with my little eye. Yep.
So that after the initial hearing, the defendant was moved to the White County Jail due to overcrowding
Yep.
at the Carroll County Jail. He was not moved to White County Jail due to any safekeeping order. What?
Like, he's so dumb. Like, nobody can go back to the transcript where literally Lesenby already testified to this. Like, what is he doing? I think what he did was he looked at the statute that says that they can be moved due to overcrowding. And so now, in order to make this a non-issue in his mind, he's going to say that it was because of overcrowding rather than what it actually was, which was not necessarily a safekeeping order. I'm just going to let you carry on, but that is a
No,
lie.
I'm going to look for the transcript real quick because we have these.
Yeah.
I think that might be part 2. Yeah, I'm gonna read it. And I'm gonna put. Then we'll go. I'm gonna go back. We're gonna probably reread some of it and pull up some of the stuff that goes along with it, because there's a lot of shit that I'm already like, well, no, this isn't exactly what you said before. Now you're just changing it to fit whatever you want it to fit now. All right, so we'll just go through it and we'll do it that way. Like I said, I haven't read it, so I don't have any of this stuff just handy, ready to go to be able to just pull it. I'll have to find some of it. That's bullshit. Okay, that on November 2nd, 2022, the Carroll County Sheriff Tove Lesenby filed a request by the Sheriff of Carroll County, Indiana, to transfer the inmate from the custody of the sheriff to the custody of the Indiana Department of Corrections for safekeeping, commonly referred to a motion for safekeeping. We don't have access to any of these exhibits yet that he put in here. Or are they attached yet?
I checked my email. I didn't.
Wait a second. No, they're not in here. So they have to be filed separately. So we don't have those yet. Unless
sure
somebody has them, let me know, and then we can pull them up too. So he's got exhibit 1, exhibit 2. I'd be curious what they are.
He probably filed a deal like an asshole.
Okay. Okay, so this one's exhibit 2. So this is the motion for safekeeping, which we have it, but I mean, I'd like to see what he puts up there. On November 3rd, the state received an email from attorney Brett Gibson stating that he would not be representing the defendant, herein attached as state's exhibit 3.
He is something else, man.
Oh my God, this is fucking priceless.
Wow.
This is fucking priceless. So he won't acknowledge that he actually received the email saying that Brett Gibson,
he had an attorney.
But it was his attorney. That's irrelevant. But now that it actually works in his favor, he's going to say, oh, wait a minute, but on November 3rd, I would love to know the timing of that. Let's see. You have
well,
the exhibits.
regardless.
We get the exhibits, then we'll know what time that actually even happened at. But they already, on November 2nd, knew that they were going to be doing this because this is when it was filed, and they still don't fucking tell Gibson on the 2nd that they're filing a safekeeping order on his client, and that they knew he was representing because he had emailed them.
Well, see, he doesn't acknowledge that he knew he had an attorney. He's only acknowledging that he got an email saying he would no longer be his attorney, but he's careful to not mention that he knew of an attorney. So like
Right.
a logical question then would be, okay, so on November 3rd, when you received this email saying I'm no longer, well, here's the thing. He can't deny having known it because before November 2nd, he spoke on the phone with this attorney.
True.
So he can't say I didn't get the email or anything like that. He spoke on the phone with him and he arranged a visit.
This fucking guy. This fucking guy.
Well, go ahead to I don't know what this has to do with his safety, people wanting information.
So that on November 3rd, 2022, the court granted the sheriff's motion without a hearing and determined that the defendant was in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death, or the copy fucking paste of the Indiana Code, but by the insistence of public information, noting that it is extremely dangerous and put all public servants in a dangerous situation. What? State's Exhibit 4 is the order. Okay. But it's a public bloodlust. That in this order, the court further noted that the defendant intended on hiring private counsel. Marissa asked a really good question about this, and we have the transcript from that October 28th, where was he actually asked if he already had an attorney? Because my memory from reading it was simply the judge saying, like, you have a right to do this or right to do that. Do you understand? And he's like, and no, which one do you choose? And he's like, I'll hire my own attorney. Like, it was like, here's your two choices. This is what, and then which one are you going to choose? So, I mean, I don't know. I think that we'd have to go back to is he allowed to even state outside of what the judge asked the question of? Like, do you already have an attorney? You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. He's allowed to say, yeah. If if Nick is standing in the room with the judge and Rick Allen, and he says, and the judge says to him about, are you going to hire an attorney or do you want me to appoint one? And Rick says, I'm going to hire my own attorney. There's literally nothing that stops Nick from saying, Your Honor, I just want to, maybe the defendant, whatever, is confused or whatever. But like, I did speak with his attorney. He does have a private attorney that he's hired, that has visited him at the jail and will be putting in an appearance, as soon as the docket is put together.
Woman's like, I don't even want to understand anymore. It just doesn't make any sense.
It's not like Diener would have been like, no, you don't speak. If he has an attorney, he needs to tell me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And regardless, we're again ignoring the fact that, he's saying, well, like you said, he's saying that on November 3rd, he got a thing saying that he was no longer going to be his attorney. But on the 2nd is when the motion was filed and was not served to either the attorney or Rick. And whatever. Whatever. He's just, the thing that irritates me the most about this is that, like, I feel like myself as a judge would have serious concerns with the twisting of this and avoidance of even responding directly to certain things. We're only on page 2.
Oh shit, we're only on page 2.
Yeah, I would have serious questions about this, but I'm sure it's just going to be denied without a hearing.
Oh yeah. Well, he put it in there. So yeah. Absolutely. So Travis is saying if the attorney had filed a notice of appearance with the clerk, then the email wouldn't suffice. Well, we know he didn't file a notice of appearance with the clerk, according to right now both sides, unless there's documents that we're unaware of. And I guess talking to Gibson would probably be able to straighten that out. But it seems that he just contacted Tobe and McClelland, and McClelland told him that Rick Allen was being held under an alias and set him up a time to talk to him or whatever.
So, like, multiple things happened. He sent the email saying, I represent Rick Allen to both Tobe and Nick, and said, I represent him. If you guys are talking to him, I ask that you stop talking to him immediately without me present. And because I represent him, don't go to speak with him without me present. Then he tried to go visit Rick Allen and they couldn't find him at the jail. So he called Nick and was like, they can't find him at the jail. And Nick was like, let me go find out. And he's like, oh, they have him under an alias. That's why you couldn't find him, but I can set you up to go see him. And they did that. So Nick's knowledge of the attorney situation goes far beyond just suddenly receiving an email on 11/3 and seeing it say, oh, I no longer represent him. You know what I mean? He's leaving out all the communication prior to that. But regardless, they ignored the fact that they were supposed to serve Rick. Let's say they didn't know anything about an attorney. Let's say he had amnesia for those couple of days and he had no clue that he had an attorney. They were required to serve Rick specifically.
They probably couldn't find him because they put him under an alias.
Yeah, that's exactly why they couldn't.
They didn't. No, I'm saying that like the sheriff couldn't find him. Serve him.
He's also so far.
Where is he? What did we do with him?
He's also so far said nothing about the fact that Diener helped him write the motion.
No, not yet. I'm waiting for that. I'm hoping he addresses it, but no, not yet. Okay, where were we at? I can't believe we're on page 3. We're about to be on page 3. Okay, that in this order, the court further noted that the defendant intended on hiring private counsel, further supporting that no attorney had entered their appearance of counsel of record for the defendant. That a motion for okay, well, we kind of just talked about that a little bit. I don't know, because the timing of this is interesting because he's under, there's no case until the 28th, but Gibson could put his appearance in on the 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. No? I'm almost positive. I think I'd have to go back to the other motion to see.
What was your question?
When did Gibson and Kathy Allen have the conversation that she wasn't going to be able to afford him? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm looking.
The 28th was a Friday. That's right, because then you're right, Indiana Girl, and then that Monday they held the press conference.
That would be, you said when they couldn't afford him?
Yeah, when did Kathy Allen?
So I have 10/27 at 6:02 p.m. She paid the attorney $5,000. He emails Nick and Tobe to inform them he represents them, and then at 10 p.m. on 10/27, Gibson called Kathy to say he wouldn't be able to get her husband out of jail because he was going to be charged with murder the next day. I don't see anything anywhere where it said that he said he wasn't going to represent him anymore.
Okay. Hold on. Yes, Joanna. So that's essentially what Sleuthy's saying too. Is even if Nick wants to say that he didn't think that Gibson was his attorney, they still had the responsibility to serve Rick Allen himself, like he would be pro se. Emily, no hearing on the 2nd. There was a hearing on the 28th, and then he calls it a proceeding on November 3rd, because there's nothing on November 3rd besides Diener just signing off on it and then bouncing, because that's the same day he recuses himself. I hadn't been allowed to contact Kathy, and she couldn't contact RA. They had RA booked under an alias, so his attorney couldn't contact him. Of course, RA is not going to know he had an attorney. Well, I think he meets with him that day, right? The 27th or the 28th? I think he might meet with him on the 20. I don't know. Like I said, I don't remember the dates now. What day did Rick Allen meet with Gibson? It was the 27th? Right. They did.
Yeah, the
Yes.
same day that he said, the same day he found out that he was going to be charged with murder was when he went to go visit him at the jail. So the 27th.
Okay. Okay. Where are we at? That a motion for safekeeping is not considered a critical stage of the proceedings where the defendant is required to be present with counsel. That the sheriff had standing to file the motion for safekeeping because although the defendant was moved to the White County Jail, he was a Carroll County defendant. He was only moved to the White County Jail because the Carroll County Jail did not have sufficient room to house him in a cell by himself, as evidenced by the affidavit of Tobe Lesenby, herein attached as State's Exhibit 5. That's why I want to go back and listen to hear what Tobe actually had to say about this. Tobe filed the motion on the 2nd. Maybe that's what you were talking about for the 2nd, Emily. He writes up the motion on the 2nd with Judge Diener. But he doesn't say why he doesn't believe it's a critical stage. Not yet, anyway. Judge Diener was the presiding judge over the case at that time and therefore had jurisdiction over the case, and further was within that jurisdiction and within Indiana Code to make a ruling on the motion without a hearing. That as of the filing of the motion for safekeeping, the defendant did not have an attorney of record. I mean, there is no attorney of record at that point besides the attorney talking to Rick and Tobe.
Nick hadn't even filed an appearance at that time. So if we're going to be particular about an attorney of record, Nick he didn't even file an appearance yet.
When did he file?
Hold on, I'll go look.
Okay. That's what I said. We're gonna have to go back through some of this because there's, hey Charles, there's a lot of stuff that like we're gonna need some supporting documents to be able to show that this is bullshit. The Indiana Code does allow the defendant to request a post-transfer hearing, which is what occurred in this case.
So get this.
This is stupid.
So get this. Nick and Shane didn't enter their appearances until after Baldwin and Rosie did. Nick didn't enter his appearance. It wasn't filed till November 23rd, 2022.
No fucking way.
Yes. Hold on.
Hey, Angel Ray. I'm like whispering to you because you're at work. Hey, Dan. Okay, so the letter to the DA and the sheriff triggered obligations on behalf of the DA, ethical and legal. I wasn't aware that an attorney didn't file with the clerk. The obligations of the DA are triggered. There's another part to this message still coming, so hold, please. Let me see. So here is Nick and Shane filing their appearance dated November 23rd of 2020. Regardless of whether attorney files a notice of appearance or not. So yeah, so Travis is saying the same thing. It doesn't matter. Once Nick knew, he was obligated.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is if Nick is trying to say that, what is his name? Gibson? That Gibson not having filed an appearance so that he was like an attorney of record on the docket makes a difference, then he should recognize that he didn't file an appearance on the docket until after Baldwin and Rosie did.
So we have Baldwin and Rosie's, and they both filed on the 14th.
Yes.
So he technically wasn't an attorney on the case either. He wasn't
By his standards, if that's the standard he's applying to Gibson, yeah. I mean, it's absolutely incorrect. But if you're going to go off of his standards, then his incorrect standards, then yeah, even he wasn't an attorney of record until November 23rd.
Oh, okay. So Indiana Code does not allow the defendant. Okay, we already went through this. Oh, this is when I started cracking up because he's like, oh, and the defendant requested the hearing and was given one on June 15th of 2023. That at the June 15th, 2023 hearing, the court found that the defense's allegations were untruthful and not well-founded and denied the motion to modify the safekeeping order. The court further found that the safekeeping order was reasonable and necessary to ensure the defendant's safety and to prevent serious bodily injury to himself, thereby affirming the court's order of November 3rd, 2022. See the order in Exhibit 6.
So how does the public demanding public information equate to him putting himself in danger? Like, read that last sentence that you just read.
The court further found that the safekeeping order was reasonable and necessary to ensure the defendant's safety and to prevent serious bodily injury to himself, thereby affirming the court's order of November 3rd, 2022. But up here he's saying that it was a problem because of the bloodlust for his employees, that was putting the safety of the guards in danger.
Right. And that is so crazy to me that he's bringing up that the court found that the allegations were untruthful, because then he fought literally, like, are we still going to go with that? Like, the whole world hasn't now been made aware of exactly how he was being treated and that was not a lie.
Right.
That is crazy to me.
Here you go, Travis. I don't know what part you wanted to see, but where'd it go? Scroll up, so notice appearance. I want to see what caption is and if case number is referenced. I should be able to, yeah. Okay. So once again, he puts in here whatever suits his narrative to whatever it needs to be. Because up here it wasn't about him, it's about the guards. Down here it's about, ooh, looky, the judge said it was about Rick's safety, and the defense lied. The defense's allegations were untruthful. No file stamp. That's what was down here. Oh shit, wrong thing. I keep trying to click on that like it's the right thing, but it's not because it's over here. Hold on. That's the whole thing. Well, yeah, Joanna, there's no hearing. There's absolutely no hearing for the safekeeping whatsoever. Appearance form, case number, Richard Allen, murder, Nick and Shane, courthouse, second floor. Nothing. This is just, that's it. Filed by Sharon, Carol Clerk, on the 23rd of 2022. That's all there is. Yeah, on November 23rd. But that's what Sleuthy was saying. It's like it's an issue because he's over here saying that this other attorney, Gibson, didn't file an appearance on the case. Well, he didn't even file his own appearance on the case. No timestamp in the filed. No, not that I can see. Okay, so let's see. Okay, here we are. Q. Therefore, the defendant had a right to object and exercise that right, and his counsel failed to show the court that the safekeeping order was unnecessary. In fact, the court found that the defense not only did not meet their burden, but that the evidence presented at the hearing did not support the allegations advanced by defense counsel. I don't even have words for this, to be honest with you. I don't have words for this. They act like that it hasn't already been proven twice over that they were actually honest, and everything that they said was going on came out in trial that it was actually going on. I don't know. The defense filed an additional verified motion for immediate transfer of custody on September 18th of 2023, which the court denied without a hearing. That the defendant's due process rights and constitutional rights were protected throughout the course of this case. That under both the Sixth Amendment of the United States Constitution and the Indiana Constitution, the right to counsel only applies to quote unquote critical stages of the prosecution where the absence of counsel might, derogate from the accused's right to a fair trial. Further, a stage of the proceedings is only critical if it is one where incrimination may occur or where the opportunity for effective defense might be seized or foregone. Wow. Interesting that you say that, Mr. McClelland. The right to counsel is not a generalized protection for all purposes. It is not a right that is implicated just because questions of law may arise. The motion for the safekeeping does not touch on matters of guilt or impact the ability to have a fair trial. I fucking completely disagree with you. It is a mechanism for housing the defendant in the penal facility pending trial that will keep him and others safe. It didn't keep him safe. Kept him alive, I guess you could say, but safe is relative. The defendant is not facing the advocacy of the prosecutor with respect to his guilt or innocence of the criminal charges. No, we just lock him up, put him in solitary, drug him, make him fucking crazy to the point where he confesses to random ass shit and that he killed the girls in all kinds of ways that the girls didn't die to use it in court against him. I don't know how that's a fair trial. It further is not a stage where incrimination may occur or where the opportunity to present a defense to the charge must be seized or forever be lost or impaired. Okay, hold on, I'm going to read that again. It is further not a stage where incrimination may occur. The safekeeping is obviously a stage where incrimination may occur when you do what you did to him when you put him in the Indiana Department of Corrections, or whether the opportunity to present a defense to the charge must be seized or forever be lost or impaired. Well, the defense attorneys talked about that repeatedly, about how they could not talk to their client. They could not talk to their client about the defense of himself. They couldn't have a conversation with him. He was being recorded. They were being followed. They had to drive, 8 hours both ways to be able to see him at one point. I don't know how that does not impair a defense. Did you not have to file separate appearances? They didn't file separate ones. They filed the same one, no? Yeah, right? Yeah, apparently a person wouldn't want legal advice on any of that. This is the heart of it here. And when Footnote first brought this up, this was the main question. Is this a critical stage? That's where the fight will be. Cases cited by RA seem solid. Need to read these cases. Okay. No. He's trying to say that, yeah, and Nick's trying to say that, no, he didn't need to defend himself against it because he had the right to essentially appeal it later. And so, which he did, and they went to court in June. So almost 7 months later, November, December. Yeah. 7.5 months later. It has been found that the filing of information is not a critical stage. The probable cause hearing or initial hearing are not critical stages. Osbrook essentially said that too, that the one on the 28th isn't a critical stage. The issue with the one on the 28th is that Nick knew he had an attorney and didn't fucking tell anybody. Nor is the procedure to select a special judge. It is safe to surmise that given those rulings, a motion that does not even require a hearing would not be a critical stage in the proceedings, which in turn would not entitle the defendant to a new trial. But what about the fact that his attorney or himself, if you didn't think he was represented by an attorney, were not even notified that there was a proceeding happening that would affect him and his defense? How is that? And that's what Travis is saying. It's like, hey, somebody's going to have to decide whether that safekeeping should have been a hearing and it would be considered a critical stage. That since this was not a critical stage of the proceedings, the defendant did not have a Sixth Amendment right to counsel, so he was not denied the Sixth Amendment right to counsel. That even if this was determined to be a critical stage in the proceedings, any Sixth Amendment right to counsel would be reviewable under the harmless error analysis. We talked about this too, and that's essentially saying, does it, even if the outcome of this situation was changed in any way, would it alter the outcome, or is it just a harmless error and we'd still be exactly where we are today? Okay, that the defense cite United States versus Chronic as a precedent to overturn the conviction, but they do so because they misunderstand the case. Oh, you're funny, Nick. The defense believes that the case says that a harmless error analysis is precluded because the defendant was denied counsel at a critical stage. However, the case states that Sixth Amendment violations raise two questions: whether a Sixth Amendment violation has occurred and whether the constitutional violation was harmless. Okay, prejudice must be an element of the constitutional violation to warrant reversal. In Chronic, the issue was ineffective assistance of counsel, not lack of representation at a critical stage. In determining if not having an attorney at a critical stage reaches the level of a violation, the harmless error analysis is used. And cops. And you misspelled chronic, you ass.
I'll be honest, like, I don't even trust that he read it. You know what I mean? He could just
No,
say
but
anything in this.
fucking
It's not.
word salad that whole thing.
He can say whatever he wants in this. It's not. It doesn't. He knows it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? He knows that whatever he says, he does. He
I'm
knows it
actually
doesn't matter.
surprised he even responded, to be honest with you.
Me too. Well, he's
Travis is
probably
like,
the.
Osbrook has gotten a new trial based on chronic. I think he knows what it states. Well, not this
I'm
type
talking
of
about Nick.
No, yeah, no, he wasn't talking to you. He was just saying that out loud. Yeah, he's saying it to Nick, essentially. But, you know, it's not this type of chronic. This is a different kind of chronic. This is what happens when you have coke dealer hair. Talking about different kinds of chronic. Okay, so in determining if not having an attorney at a critical stage reaches the level of violation, the harmless error analysis is used.
Okay, he's a
I
crackhead.
just feel like that was totally word saladed into that the defense doesn't understand what chronic is. But
It is.
But he does understand it. I mean, the defense team did understand it. That's essentially what we had the conversation about. No?
He, like I said, he probably didn't read it. He just says whatever he wants to because he knows it doesn't matter.
Well,
I
he
really
also
believe that he.
to him it doesn't matter. He's essentially saying here, like, okay, even if what they're saying is true, that I did know that he had an attorney, it doesn't really matter because it's not a critical stage. And even if you want to consider that it's a critical stage, it's not critical enough that it did not cause any of the harm, which he says up here essentially, where it impaired his defense or the coercion.
Well,
I don't
because
remember
he
what
knows because he knows that is what would get it overturned. Because see, then he follows up in the next paragraph and says, even if he, whatever it said, I don't remember now. Like, even if he, the lack of the hearing for the safekeeping motion and the lack of counsel before that wouldn't have changed the jury's outcome. Like they would, the jury's
right.
verdict would have been the same. So he's basically defaulting to like the appellate argument, like that's the standard that they usually look at as well. You know, let's say we believe everything in here was true and we, you know, it could have been different. Would it have made a difference in the jury's verdict? So he's
Right.
trying to poo-poo the chronic thing because he knows that that's not the standard for chronic.
Correct. And but in turn, he's also saying the defense team doesn't understand what chronic is.
Have I missed it?
While
Has he?
misspelling chronic.
I just want to make sure I didn't miss it. But did I miss the part where he talks about Diener helping him write the motion or no? Did he not say anything yet?
He hasn't mentioned that. No.
Oh, okay.
That hasn't come. Not yet anyway. Okay, let me see. I don't even know where I was. I was scrolling all over the place. I think we were here. Shit, I don't even know where I was. I think I was here. State's fair trial. Further state of the proceedings is only critical. Yeah, incrimination may occur or the opportunity of effective defense is seized. Okay, so I read that. Okay, here. This is where we are. In determining if not having an attorney at a critical stage reaches a level of violation, the harmless error analysis is used. Yep. Okay. So that the lack of a hearing for the safekeeping motion on November 3rd, 2022, and the lack of counsel before the decision was made by the court had no effect on the jury's verdict and therefore is harmless. I can't take this fucking guy seriously. The jury did not find the defendant guilty because a determination on his safekeeping was made without a hearing on November 3rd, 2022, and no attorney appeared. No, you changed the entire trajectory of your case based on what you did. And you literally found no other evidence outside of the PCA besides what happened to Rick Allen in prison due to
But
your safekeeping work.
the point is that that is not the standard of chronic. The standard of chronic is we don't care what may or may not have happened if it would have gone the way it was supposed to. We can't assume, like, we're just going to assume that there was harm, enough harm to where we have to start over. Literally, this has nothing to do with the jury making a different decision. Nothing.
And I think
Jesus
that I think
Christ.
it was Kara who actually, in her tweet that one time, had essentially stated you can't go back and redo a safekeeping hearing. So the only remedy of that error, if it's considered a critical stage, is that he gets a new trial. That's the only way to remedy this error. And Nick's saying, well, no, because it doesn't change anything. But it fucking does, though. The jury did not find the defendant guilty because of determination on I already read that, nor did not having an attorney or a hearing at this stage permanently deprive the defendant of the opportunity to raise any claims or assert any defense. I don't believe that. I absolutely think it hindered his defense. Clearly, the defense did that after the order was entered. The lack of counsel must be complete to apply the presumption of prejudice. The presumption of prejudice only applies when the error infects the entire trial process. See, you're speaking my language here, Nick, but you're using it the opposite way because I absolutely think this is true. The presumption of prejudice only applies when the error infects the entire trial process and necessarily renders it fundamentally unfair. Yes, that's exactly what I think you did. Thank you, Nick. The chronic exception is exceedingly narrow and is only applied in cases of non-representation throughout the entire case. No, that is not true. Smith v. Brown. Okay. So that's everything for number one. We just read all the points for his number one. Let me see Travis's last comment. Oh, that was the one I had up. Okay. Arrow, you ain't wrong. I am well aware of the law surrounding chronic. Nick is right. Signed, Chronic Lover. Hey, Jeff. I don't know. He's absolutely a fucking gaslighter. Okay, so now we're going to go to number two. Due process under the 14th Amendment as it pertains to the Brad Weber testimony. Okay. A, that the defense argues that the defendant's due process rights under the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution were violated because the state presented testimony that Brad Weber arrived home in a white van around 2:30 p.m., knowing that the testimony was false before it was elicited or failing to correct it once it had been elicited. The defense cites a video located in discovery from the residence near the Monon High Bridge, a video that was included in the discovery, turned over to the defense, and that the defense had the entire time of trial. Give me 1 second, Sleuthy. I'll be right back.
What?
Where are my keys?
Oh, that I don't know.
Say, Anthony, you better come down and find me that goddamn agenda.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so the defense cites a video located in discovery from the residence. Okay, we kind of talked about this part already. Like, you knew it was there and you allowed him to falsely testify that he got home at a time that you knew he didn't get home. And that time is absolutely critical to the fact that of the outcome of the jury, of what the jury decided. Because he puts this in the timeline when he knew it was false testimony. So if he wants to stick with that it's not new, then it's that he fucking allowed him to lie on the stand, knowing that it wasn't true. Because it favored his case.
Mm-hmm.
So he's essentially...
He'll say it was a deep fake.
But he's admitting that right now. Oh, we haven't read
He's
the
going to
rest.
say that the
There
footage.
he is.
He's going to say that it's a deep fake, that it's edited in some way or something like that. Much. Well, I mean, obviously it's edited. They said it was edited because it had to be zoomed in, but
But they put the original in there too.
yeah.
So it had both. That the exhibit presented by the defense is in the form of a YouTube link that is not identified as an item of evidence by an Indiana State Police number, and therefore is an improper submission for consideration by the court. Oh my God. It is unverified by legitimate means as to date and time. Defense allege that the time in the video is off by 12 hours without any proof of said allegation, except their apparent ability to tell the time by simply looking at the daylight and the moonlight in the video. They further make us, well, it's your evidence, Nick.
This is also especially hilarious considering he put in, like, there was like a picture that was nowhere to be found on a phone that was like Googled in order to get it so that they could see what time it was and they based their timeline off of it. And a interpolated, edited to death video from a phone. Like, what does that even mean?
I don't know.
He's saying because it didn't have an ISP evidence number on it that it's not, he's not going to even recognize it as actual evidence.
Correct.
Cool. Okay.
So I don't know. So number one is it's in discovery, and so he had it and the defense had it. That's number one, right? So it's not new. Here it is where you can't even, it's not even legitimate because it's a YouTube link, which because it doesn't have the evidence number attached to it, but it's Nick's evidence. So if it's your evidence, Nick, then you already know what the answer to this is. I don't know. Let's keep reading. Maybe he says something else. They further make assumptions about the content of the video. They present zero evidence to support said allegations. I fucking can't, Smoothie. I fucking can't. Does this guy not realize what they did with the BG video? And they had fucking, what was it, Liggett or Mullen or both of them up there being like, that be a gun. Like, I heard it, and it said, that be a gun. Like, what? They don't even put the person on the fucking stand who altered the video to say exactly what they did to alter the video and the audio. This is a fucking joke, right? This is literally all he has to do. This is what he did. And he's like, oh, no, I can do that during the trial. I can do all of this, but you guys, just in a motion, you just put it on a YouTube link all willy-nilly. What? They further just make assumptions about the content of the video. You've got to be fucking kidding me. We hear a gun. We hear that be a gun. We hear all kinds of stuff that we don't know. We can't even tell you where the fuck we got that information from, besides the fucking 80-year-old ex-Delphi fucking chief of police who deleted all the videos because he doesn't know anything about tech. What? This is a joke. That the simple answer is that a motion to correct error only applies to newly discovered evidence. From the defense's own admissions, this is not newly discovered evidence, but rather evidence that they had provided been provided long before trial. The defense chose not to present it at trial as part of their trial strategy. It was a trial strategy by experienced defense attorneys. Oh, now they're just so experienced. Therefore, it is a moot issue because it is not newly discovered evidence. Then we bring it back to the fact that up here, you're the one who fucking says you knew that Brad Weber was on the fucking stand lying. So you allowed your witness to lie and corrupt your timeline to make it fit your fucking narrative. Thanks, Nick. Thanks for telling us. that at best this is impeachable evidence that the defense could have used when Brad Weber was on the stand testifying. Evidence which is merely impeaching is not a big... She wouldn't allow him to impeach on shit. They tried to impeach all kinds of stuff. But that's neither here nor there, because it wasn't with Brad Weber. But that's still. Evidence which is merely impeaching is not available as grounds for a new trial under the rules concerning newly discovered evidence. How about the fact that you had this fucking evidence and you knew he was lying? You knew he was lying. I don't know how people out there in the social media universe trust these fucking people. I cannot wrap my mind around why they do not see these people gaslight, they fucking lie, they manipulate people. I mean, you can see it just in his own fucking filing. Like, how does anybody trust this fucking guy? It's like, well, it doesn't really matter if, I knew he was lying because that's what he said. And you guys could have called him out on being a liar instead of the fact that I should have just, told the fucking truth to begin with, because all I wanted was a fair trial. I just wanted the right person arrested. No, you obviously didn't give a shit. And you're telling the world right now you don't give a shit because you knew it was wrong. And you're saying, oopsie daisy, too bad it's wrong because the defense didn't impeach my witness. No, this just shows that you don't give a shit about the fucking truth. Like, tell the world you don't care about actually getting justice for Libby and Abby without actually having to come out in a fucking interview and say, I don't actually give a shit. As long as we got the guy that we wanted to get, we don't care if we did it the right way or not. We don't care if we did it the legal way or not. We just care that we got the guilty verdict and fuck everything else that happened up till then. We don't care how we got it. This is generational. This is generational. Yeah, it is fucking generational, because guess what? Richard Allen's not going to meet his grandchildren. His grandchildren aren't going to know him, but anything but a convicted murderer, because you guys fucking totally rammed over his entire constitutional rights by every fucking move you made. Sorry, I'm getting mad. I'm going to have to calm down. I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to take a drink. I'm going to take a vape. Yeah. You did. You guys did. You warned me. I didn't. I just thought you guys were being like, it's going to be fun. But no, this is actually pissing me off. It's making me really mad that there are still people who are just like, yeah, well, state did everything they did everything right. Look at how perfect they are. And it's like, you guys just don't see what he's doing. I don't know. Makes me worry about future generations here that just don't see through this fucking bullshit and that they think this is okay. So footnote explained on here how he set these issues up as wedge issues. He framed the issues in such a way that the state was forced to pick a lane. Here the state had picked their lane, just as MA planned. Well, they picked both lanes, which is exactly what I'm saying is why it's, how does anybody trust this fucking guy when he's literally just lying to you? And he's telling you himself he's lying to you. Because they have their guy and they trust Nick. I don't know. Like when I think of this case, like in like 5-10 years, or if there is a possibility of actually figuring out like who actually killed Abby and Libby, I think of, I'm telling you, and I've told you guys this before too, of those, the family members who end up having to like come to grips with the fact that they had put all this hate and all this blame onto somebody who ended up being wrongfully convicted. And it, like, what a mind fuck that is for the family members when they realize like how they didn't care about what happened to the person during that entire time. I don't know if the families just don't pay attention to this kind of stuff because it's just too much for them. Like, I'm talking like the filing stuff, not like the YouTube stuff, but maybe they don't pay attention to the filings. Maybe they don't understand. Maybe they just wait and have like the conversation with them, and then they're just gaslit into believing that this is normal. All right, let me see. Where was I at? Was I here? I don't even know where I was now. It just irritates the shit out of me. I just what he says is just so gaslighty that it's almost like you can't even read it because it's like you're stupider after reading it. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like, did you say this or did you say this? Because here you're saying both, and you're wanting me to believe that both of those are exactly what you want me to think when they can't both go together. So which one is it? I just feel like he's a master manipulator. That's where I'm at with him. It's impeachable evidence the defense could have used against Brad Weber. We read that. Evidence which is merely impeaching is not grounds for a new trial, blah, blah, blah. Further evidence must be more than impeachable or cumulative, must not be reasonable, discoverable before trial, and also evidence that would probably result in a different verdict. Well, right. I think that's perfectly clear. It wasn't reasonable or discoverable when you're saying you didn't even know about it to be able to correct him. Yeah, featuring gaslight. Yeah.
Wait, what?
I'm just like, he just gaslights the shit out of people, and then people buy into it.
Yeah, they do. Well, I think I'm like hearing a lot of arguments that I've been hearing. And I think that while we were waiting for the response, he was like gathering what everyone was saying on YouTube. It wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, yeah, it wouldn't be. Okay, so, but he's saying here, like, it must not be, further evidence must be more than impeachable or cumulative, must not be reasonable, discoverable before trial, and also evidence that would probably result in a different verdict. Well, okay, and once again, I'm not a lawyer, and this is obviously very wordy, so I'm going to probably look this one up because this is interesting to me, because it does seem like this is exactly what that is. It wasn't reasonable discovery for the defense to have this, but it would be reasonable discovery that the prosecution would when they're the one calling Brad Weber up there, right?
That's the
Like,
point. So
right. And that's what he said. So am I like reading this wrong? Like, he's putting that in there. Like, yeah, that's what they're saying about you, Nick.
he's trying to say that the argument is that the defense could have used it for impeachment. And he's missing the argument that he was your witness and you have a duty when you elicited information that you should have known was false because you did have this information and you didn't correct it. It must be more than contradictory. Like, you don't understand. The point is that you put someone on the stand who had additional testimony and you would have known about it. You're admitting you knew about it. And because it would contradict your timeline and your case, like, he's just basically putting all of this onto, he's missing the point on purpose, in my opinion.
I feel like he's just trying to hit like all the points and like seeing which one sticks, and it's like, okay, that works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he says, finally, the testimony by Brad Weber was not the exclusive evidence the state used to convict Richard Allen. Brad Weber was put on the stand multiple times, and the defense had every opportunity to cross-examine him. If anything, this evidence is no more than impeachment evidence that the defense chose not to use. The defense is not permitted to request a new trial to change strategy when their chosen path fails. No, I think the issue is that you knew that the testimony was false, but
Yeah, but he's
we're not addressing that.
he's purposely ignoring that because he's admitted that he did know that that stuff existed, and he knows he shouldn't have did it. So,
But it doesn't matter because he's just going to say the defense chose not to do it. This is what you probably
like,
weren't
if they
even.
could respond, I would hope they would say, well, considering, the order in the case of whatever with the chief of police in Delphi that just came out, where you, in a bench trial, elicited and allowed the Delphi police chief to lie on the stand to the judge while you were doing your direct examination, then maybe you don't realize what your duties are. Like, maybe you shouldn't even be a prosecutor. It is wild, DB.
It is. It's not permitted to request it. They can't request. They're not even permitted to request it. He tells them what they can and what they can't even be permitted to do. This also applies to any phone things that were in discovery for Brad Weber. This is not newly discovered evidence by the defense's own admissions. Further, at best, it's impeachable evidence that the defense chose not to use at trial.
Again, entirely missing the point that it's not newly discovered evidence by you. He's ducking his responsibilities here.
Well, yeah, he's not taking any responsibility for the fact that he knew. He's essentially admitting this is all in discovery. This is all in discovery, and it was all given to the defense team. And so even though he's saying that I can't even say that the video is real, I'm telling you that that video is in discovery, but yet he called them liars and said he doesn't even know if it's real.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's not real, then why the fuck does any of this matter?
Well,
if it is real, then why did you allow your witness to lie on the stand?
here's the thing is this will probably get denied without a hearing, but the appellate court will now have all of this. So they'll have the motion to correct error, which is what they wanted. And now they'll also have his response. Like, I'm glad he responded. He would have been better off not responding, because both him responding and him not responding both would have ended in it being denied without a hearing. So now he's just putting more words on 10 pages to be used later.
Yeah, he intentionally allowed him to lie. Yes, because it fit his story. Exactly. 100%. And we've only heard from the one juror, but the one juror does actually state that the van is what convinced her. That's the one confession she believed.
And I hate to keep coming back to this, but if you really need to understand the level of his gaslighting abilities, or how confident he is in them, I'm going to bring us right back to the bench trial with the Delphi chief of police, where he literally let the man lie, knowing that he was then going to present body camera footage that completely contradicted everything he was saying. But he allowed it anyway, and then played it like the judge wouldn't notice. Bizarre. And then made a statement that, like, he doesn't support perjury, and like he's looking to see if he could prosecute the man. It's like, sir, you're the one that asked him to say that. Like, what?
Does he not feel like he has any ethical responsibility to tell the jury the truth?
Because it's not his truth. It's not the truth that he needed for his case.
But it's the truth of the evidence that he had. And he just allowed it to the jury to make a decision based on evidence that was not true. And then people are okay with that. And if he's allowing, let's just, if there's one piece here to take away from this, he is okay with the fact that the jury made a decision on Richard Allen's guilt, whether this piece is true or not, knowing that it's not because he has the video. Why in the world would anybody believe that any other evidence he presented to the jury was fucking true? He doesn't have the ethics to be able to say, shit, That was wrong. Reese Davis's claim of confession by Ron Logan. Okay, so now we're in number 3. That the defense's next argument that Reese Davis claims that Ron Logan made a confession to him, said claim being newly discovered evidence entitling the defendant to a new trial. That any information pertaining to Ron Logan falls under the state's motion in limine concerning third-party motive. The defense had 3 days to present evidence to meet their burden for third-party motive. They mentioned Ron Logan but failed to meet their burden with the court. They chose not to present this evidence in that hearing. Well, why would they when the whole point is the box cutter and that was not in anything legal until the fucking trial? They also did not present this evidence when they renewed their motion during the trial. This now seems to be an effort by the defense to use a motion to correct error. Wait a minute. So the motion that they did for third party during trial, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Did she rule on that during trial? Because I thought she didn't. And I thought when they tried to talk to her about it, she just said, there's no nexus. Is my memory wrong there? Did she actually deny that during trial? Somebody that has a better
Deny
memory
which during trial?
Remember they put the so that they said that like they chose not to present that evidence in that hearing. They also did not present this evidence when they renewed their motion for third party during the trial. Did she even rule on that motion during trial?
Yeah, she told them that they went to go do it, and she basically said, like, they didn't argue it or anything. She just said,
Right.
yeah, trash. She just said, I told you I wasn't letting that in.
Right.
You don't
Okay, so
have
I
a
remember
nexus. There's no DNA at the scene. That's what she said.
There's no nexus. There's no nexus. But she didn't actually legally go in and put anything on there that said this motion is denied, right? And I'm almost positive that motion, once again, this is just memory. Sleuthie, your memory is better than mine. The motion was actually about the sticks, that they actually had somebody on the stand who was talking about the sticks and what they believed that the placement of the sticks represented. And they felt like if that was the case, they should have had the right to give the defense's theory of what they thought the sticks represented. Isn't that what that motion for the third party motion was during the hearing where she said no?
I don't remember. It just applied to all third party everything. Like, they didn't go through and say.
But that's like right around when they did it, I think.
They weren't specific about it. Oh, when? Like, what day of trial? That's what you want to know?
No, I was just trying to think of like when they were asking about it, like what was happening at that time. That it wasn't about the box cutter situation. They weren't bringing this up around the box cutter situation in my memory. It's irrelevant. It's just me trying to timeline my own brain. So this now seems to be an effort by the defense to use a motion to correct error in an effort to circumvent their burden concerning third-party motive. If the fact that the box cutter in its first legal right is brought in at trial, and then you have a confession from somebody else, he's just going to say that's just not enough of a nexus still. Thank you, honey. That this evidence, along with the video surveillance evidence from the residence, was received. This evidence, along with the video surveillance evidence from the residence, was received by the defense on January 30th, 2024 as evidence by the discovery release herein attached as State's Exhibit 7. Is he going back to the Brad Weber thing here? Is he bringing back that?
Yeah, and he's acknowledging again that he had it in discovery and he's seen it and knew when they got it.
Yeah. The defense team, consisting of 3 experienced defense trial attorneys, made a choice not to fully explore or present the Reese Davis claim, which the defense admits was contained in discovery. That the alleged confession was made to an inmate at the Department of Corrections named Reese Davis, who is serving 50 years for dealing in methamphetamines. That law enforcement interviewed Reese Davis and submitted him to a polygraph at his request. That Mr. Davis failed the polygraph miserably. That Mr. Davis gave a statement that alleged Ron Logan confessed to him that he killed the older girl first. Okay, once again, the polygraph doesn't actually have anything to do with anything because it's not legal, and then took the younger one away from the scene, that he killed the second victim later and then brought her back to the scene. That he went back to the scene after search parties searched his property and moved the girls to another location, that he removed the cell phone battery from the girl's phone and left the phone behind, and that he took the girl's clothing from the scene and burned. Is that what? Am I fucking losing my mind? Because I don't think that that's what we read in the motion to correct error. Is it?
Pretty sure
I
he
don't
said he
remember.
burned his own clothes.
He burned his own clothes, right? Yeah. Like, wait a minute.
And the battery, what was it about the battery?
That he removed the battery from the phone and left the phone behind.
Interesting. Oh,
We didn't,
Nicholas.
we didn't know that. We didn't know that that was part of the confession before, right? Like, so I'm like, am I losing my fucking mind here?
So he's either confused or he is providing more detail outside of what they provided, which I would assume would mean that, I don't know. I think he's slipping. Okay.
Because that's not what we knew about. Am I wrong on that? I'm not wrong,
No, we
right?
didn't know anything about that. He's bringing this up for the very first time ever.
That he killed the second victim later and then brought her back to the crime scene. And he went back to the crime scene after the search parties searched his property and moved the girls to another location, that he removed the cell phone battery from the girl's phone and left the phone behind, and then he took the girl's clothing from the scene and burned. Many of these details are directly contradicted by the evidence. The others have no evidentiary support.
I'll tell you what.
To know what he thinks doesn't actually match. This actually matches so much better than other shit. I don't even know what to say.
I'll tell you what. He better hope that that's in discovery.
I'm gonna eat a taco real quick, so I'm gonna mute.
Okay. I was just saying that he better hope that that's in discovery somewhere. That tidbit he just gave. Yeah, iPhones don't have removable batteries. But what's interesting is, do you guys remember when there was talk about Victim 2 phone? Wouldn't it just be absolutely hilarious if he gave away the fact that there was another phone that he knew about
That's
that
not
existed?
me eating tacos, you guys. That's Sleuthy's. That's Sleuthy. They think
Sorry,
that
I'm
they
wrap.
can eat tacos. She's wrapping something.
Yeah, my
I don't
kid's
even have
sleeping.
crunchy tacos. I have soft tacos. Just FYI.
Yeah, he's sleeping, so I'm wrapping his birthday presents. Sorry, but yeah, I
I'm all
wonder.
thinking they can hear me crunching on tacos.
No, it's just me being rude. I'm not sustaining my body or anything. Just wrapping presents.
Okay. I really hope that that the defense actually knew that this was part of the confession.
I almost hope they didn't, because that would be even more interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't even have hard tacos. I have soft tacos. You wouldn't even hear them crunch. Okay, so now this is the next one. That even with the alleged information from Ron Logan about the box cutter, there would not have been enough to establish probable cause to arrest Ron Logan. Well, no, because at that time you guys were thinking that it wasn't a box cutter. So yeah, why would there be? No evidence places him at the scene of the murders. Unlike the defendant, who left an unspent round at the scene that was subsequently matched to a gun that he owned, that he himself asserted was never in anyone else's possession, who put himself on the bridge at the time of the abduction, no he didn't, and wore the same clothing as Bridge Guy.
I almost wonder that if this is one of those situations where you say the lie many, many times, and then you just start to believe it. Like he's used to repeating the same exact phrasing over and over and over again, and now he believes it.
That reminds me of a specific YouTuber who does that.
Because it's their same rant.
Oh, that's such a great point. Weber's gun wasn't ruled out.
Also, do you mean to tell me that there wasn't a single thing, an unspent round or otherwise, on that property of the property owner? Because to be honest, that would be a little bit more bizarre. Like he's out there tromping around. You're going to tell me, and I have always wondered if there were other um, spent and unspent rounds at the scene. So I wonder if any of those were his. And then on top of that, I don't know how you could say that he wasn't there unless you can say that you tried to compare his DNA to all the unknown male DNA at the scene and ruled him out, which so far you haven't said. Like everyone ignores the unknown male DNA, like, and the fact that we don't know who it is or who they are.
I don't know how that's not enough of a nexus that there is unknown DNA, and she wanted DNA. Like, isn't that enough of a nexus to say, like, well, there is unknown DNA and we don't know who it belongs to, because it could be any of these fucking people.
Nah, she would have told them that they had to have the DNA tested to figure out whose it is, because then, if it was somebody she thought wasn't suspicious, then it wouldn't really matter. But also that she's not going to pay them to pay the DNA people either. How was that green scarf determined to have nothing to do with the crime? I'd love to know.
They said because it just looked like it had been there longer.
I mean, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like, what? Like, people don't walk around with dusty do-rags and handkerchiefs and stuff like that.
It just didn't look like it was part of the crime, so it wasn't part of the crime.
So it, like, also floated down the creek or whatever it is. It just like happened to land in the same spot.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, it just happened to. We don't actually know if it's part of the crime, but we're going to say that it's not because it looks different. All right, so that's what they have on the Reese Davis, Ron Logan stuff. Once again, I think the whole purpose of this has to do with the box cutter, and I think he totally missed the point there, that the box cutter was not in any legal findings of anything until trial. But
did he mention the box cutter at all?
Yeah, he says that even with the alleged information from Ron Logan about the box cutter, there would not have been enough to establish probable cause to arrest Ron Logan. That's it.
Okay, does he understand what probable cause is?
No, he works with fucking Holman. He doesn't. Neither of them know what probable cause is. I think they need to go to a probable cause class. And he says no evidence places him at the scene of the murders. Like, that to me is just mind blowing. Like, isn't there an entire?
The scene of the murders is his property.
Right? Isn't there an entire affidavit about him pinging on his property, which is the crime scene? I mean, maybe they have a more specific location of where he was.
Yep.
But I would be very curious why, if they have that, why they didn't put that in here. But I don't know.
It was
he was right outside of his house.
It was 1,400 feet from his house, from his door, and his phone was outside the house. They specifically say, like, the one at 7 something and the one at 10 something was outside of his residence in the proximity of where the girls were found. So to say that there would be no probable cause, I mean, the lying about I'm not even saying that like he did it, but I'm just saying it's a huge leap for me to think that there was no probable cause. I'm sorry. Knowing what probable cause is, I mean, that's just absolutely outrageous.
You're going to do the whole Holman. The only person we had probable cause to arrest was Richard Allen. Okay, so now we're at number 4. We're at Stacey Eldridge's expert. Oh, I should say thank you, CO Mama. No evidence that places him at the scene of the property he owns. That he owns, has a house on, and lived on for like 100 years. Right. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. I think there's a couple of them up here I might have missed. Hopefully they weren't questions. Okay, so we're at Stacey Eldridge's expert opinion. Oh, I can't even wait. That Google is sufficient evidence. The defense finally alleges that an affidavit by Stacey Eldridge supports that dirt or water did not cause damage in the auxiliary jack in order to log wired headphones were plugged in and unplugged. They allege that this is newly discovered evidence that would probably produce a different result at a new trial. That Stacey Eldridge testified at trial for the defense, that she did not submit any report, log, or any other information that supported her position that the log accurately supports that headphones were plugged into and later unplugged from the auxiliary jack. That this opinion was only supported by her testimony at trial, her expert opinion, FYI. That prior to her testimony, Stacey Eldridge had only done one other forensic phone analysis and had only testified one time prior about a forensic phone analysis. That Stacey Eldridge only gained the education to be able to testify to forensic phone analysis as recently as 2023. Here's the thing. If you had an issue with Stacey Eldridge and her experience or lack thereof, in your opinion, then you should have filed a motion in limine to keep her testimony out. But you didn't, so fuck off. That the bulk of her expertise is in computer and network forensics, not cell phone forensics. See her CV attached herein as State's Exhibit 8. The state called Sergeant Christopher Cecil on rebuttal to testify about headphones, and he did a Google search, and so therefore he has way more experience to be testifying to forensic phone analysis. And none of that's actually said in here. I just made all that up. So if you're just listening.
Oh, I was gonna say how he's not embarrassed. How he's not embarrassed of that, I do not know.
I don't know. He doesn't say that in here. I
Okay.
added that part. Just FYI.
Okay, good. Wouldn't be
Because
surprising though.
no, but that's exactly what happens. The state called Sergeant Christopher Cecil on rebuttal to testify about headphones in the auxiliary jack of the phone. The Sergeant Cecil was able to observe photos of the phone when it was found, herein attached as State's Exhibits 9, 10, and 11. Sergeant Cecil did testify that one plausible explanation for the log entry is that there was dirt or water in the jack that caused a malfunction. This is in part based on the condition that the phone was found in, how long it was outside before it was found, and his knowledge and experience as a forensic phone examiner.
Did he read Stacey's affidavit where she also said she looked at the photos of the phone?
And it doesn't even matter because this is based on his knowledge and experience as a forensic phone examiner.
He's a cop.
This is somebody he went outside and did a Google search. He's just acting like we don't know that. He didn't know. His knowledge and experience. He didn't come up with that answer while he was on the stand being with his direct examination, or even his cross. He went outside and Googled it, and they came back. They came back, and then he's like, "Oh, I did a Google search outside, and this is what the forums say." This is just funny to me. This is funny. This is also based on facts found through the investigation, including that the phone did not move after 2:32 p.m. on February 13th, 2017, that there were no headphones found with the bodies, that it is unlikely that someone returned to the crime scene after 2:32 p.m., removed the phone from underneath the body of Abby, plugged headphones into the phone, and then kept those headphones in for 5 hours, unplugged them, and then put the phone back underneath the body, all while not moving the phone. That the defense's expert, Stacey Eldridge, sat in the courtroom during Sergeant Cecil's testimony, and the defense had an opportunity to recall her as a witness to rebut Sergeant Cecil's testimony, but chose not to. That there is nothing in the logs, reports, or extractions that would indicate whether or not the phone had some kind of water damage, because that kind of damage is not registered in the logs, reports, or extractions of the phone. But they also testified that it did not have water damage. So, but I guess they'll just go with that was impeachable and they didn't use it. Whether or not there was water damage can only be determined by physically examining the phone, which Stacey Eldridge did not do, which Sergeant Cecil did not do. That again, at best, this impeachment evidence that could have been brought out in testimony during trial. Oh, he did go with the impeachment. I knew he would. During trial, in an effort to impeach Sergeant Cecil's testimony, this is not newly discovered evidence to warrant overturning the conviction. So the same analysis that was used in the above evidence concerning Brad Weber and Ron Logan would apply to this evidence as well. It is not newly discovered evidence, but is impeachment evidence and therefore cannot be the basis for a motion to correct error. A lot of people get this wrong about Cecil. They say he looked at a forum. He actually got that info from a Yahoo pool chat room? No way. Hey, Andrew. Hey, Carrie. Thank you for the super chat. Be great if he would have Google searched "house long for phone to die in cold." Motion to rename Cecil Sergeant Google. Denied without a hearing. Ginger snap. This it doesn't even make any sense because there was no headphones found at the scene. That's his answer to that. Vito said in his interview today that when did he do an interview? Who did Vito do an interview with? Tell me it's not those fucktards. Who did Vito do an interview with? I haven't heard it, read it, nothing. I'm falling for the memes? Oh, shit. Damn it. Google searching shit. Thank you, Lily B. That's for you too, Sleuthy. You're both badass, brilliant women. Thank you for going over this. It's so frustrating. He did? God, yuck. Like, tell me that you work with the prosecutors and the law enforcement without telling me that you work with prosecution and the law enforcement. You can lay down, baby. Hold on, you guys. Hold on. I'll be right back. Hold on. He's trying to like climb up on my lap. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of this from Nicholas McClelland, filed today. Like I said, all the exhibits that he has in here, I don't think those were put out public, at least not yet. So let me see what there was some other super chats that I missed earlier, and I'm going to go through those real quick. Thank you, Dan. I don't think you're still here anymore, but thank you for my Starbucks run. Carrie says, you know the meme of the man standing and throwing a fistful of papers in the air? Yes, I do. I do know that. I do know that meme. Jared, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. It's good to see you. Places him at the scene. We already read that one. We read that one. Andrew coming in hot with his 10 gifted memberships. Always taking care of you guys. He spoils me and spoils you guys with memberships all the time. Thank you so much, Andrew. All right, Sleuthy. Where'd you go? Peggy says, I did see Stacey in the courtroom after the testimony. I did not see Stacey in the courtroom after the testimony, and I was sitting in the back row. That was one of the things that we were talking about before, too, is nobody could seem to recall whether she was released from her subpoena or not. And so if she had left, then they wouldn't have been able to, and she was released from her subpoena, they wouldn't have been able to recall her back to go against what Cecil had said. I think that the whole point would be that the report, she testified, the reports that she was talking about were the reports that Cecil had given her, and that he had no idea what those things meant. And so she was telling the court what those things meant from his report, because he didn't know, Mr. Expert didn't actually know what they were. So she tells them, he goes outside and does a quick Google, comes back on the stand, and then tells the jury that it could be possibly any of these things. Well, I think that, does she need to come back on the stand to tell the jury that Google isn't like an official research tool? I mean, is that what does she come back to rebut, is what I'm kind of saying. Like, what does she come back on the stand and say? Like, no, we don't Google things? Well, no, he already admitted on the stand when Ajay asked him. You know, is that how you typically figure out, you know, the sources? That's a great question. I don't know. I wish that, like how they did with like the Karen Reed case, where other people came in and looked at all the investigators and what actually happened in this case and said, okay, yeah, we do believe that there was misconduct or incompetence or corruption, or we don't, and we think that they did everything above board. I wish that there was just a secondary agency that was actually going to look at these people, because I think they're unscrupulous. Yeah, Sunday Soapbox, great question. We don't know, because they never actually put him on the stand. Precocious woman, when we said everything to my guy. Nick is guilty of perjurious activities. Willingly and knowingly allowing a witness to commit perjury. And they're just saying, oh, it's too bad, defense team. You guys should have impeached him instead. All right, I don't know where Sleuthy went. Give me 1 second, you guys. I'll be right back. Hold on a second. Jerry Walker, I don't even know if you're a real person or a real account, or if you're just in here to troll. But I think it's really funny that you have the audacity to tell people to get a life while you troll channels who don't agree with you and act like you have a life. I mean, come on. If you don't want to be here, nobody's forcing you to. Maybe you might want to look in them. I have no fucking idea who Jerry is. These are fucking idiots that come around and do this stupid shit. So I'm like, and then they're like, you need to get a life because he's guilty. Give me just a second. I think my question for the people who are just adamant that he's guilty, they got the right guy, and all is said and done, what do you talk about? Like, what else do you have to talk about then? Like, why do you even bother to go watch a video on a case that you think is completely done? Why would who's wasting their life or their time? If there's no information that you feel like you can gather by coming to watch a video or listen to an audio or anything, if you feel like you're not going to get anything from it because you already have your mind made up, why in the world would you waste your life going around trying to tell people that they're wrong? I think plenty of people on social media are wrong. You don't see me going to their chats to tell them how wrong they are all the time and that they need to get a life because they're so wrong. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just ironic. It's another form of manipulation and gaslighting. Yeah, exactly, Indiana girl. Is Sarah Carbaugh related to Pat Brown? That's a great question. I don't actually know. I don't know that one. I don't even know if I have. I don't think I ever put Sarah Carbaugh in my family tree for them. I know that Rayleigh Voorhees is related to the Patties, and when I said that on a different video, there was like a handful of people who came like super hard that don't even normally like comment on the channel, like really pissed off that I said that. And I'm like, well, the documents in Ancestry are the ones that say that, not me. Nick is not blood related to the Patties. His dad, so I should say his uncle, his dad's brother, was married to Brad's current wife. Brad German being Derek and Tara German's dad, Libby's grandpa. His new wife was married to, or I mean, I guess depending on where you're at, would still be considered like Nick's aunt. I don't know how else to, I mean, I guess I could, you know what? I do have, I will show you. Give me 1 second. I do have it on here. I'll kind of explain it. It's on the, let me see if I still have it up here somewhere. I think I have it on here. Okay. See if you guys can actually see that or not. What? No, I don't need to go that way. So here, so like Brad German is Becky Patty's ex-husband, the father of Tara and Derek. He's married to Terry German, who was married to Mike McClelland, which is Nick's uncle. Oh, that's kind of really tiny on the screen now that I see it, but yeah. So blood related, no. Related, yes. That makes sense. That would, so Terry German, which is Libby's grandma, would be Nick's aunt. But then he like tried to like go on that article, or was it the article or was it the interview? I don't remember which one it was now. Well, I mean, they were both technically interviews, but I don't know if it was the interview with the shitheads or if it was the interview with the comet Karen the comet. And one of them, he tried to like downplay. He's like, yeah, like my family grew up with their family kind of thing. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, no, it was much closer than that, but nice try. I mean, he tried to do some distancing there, but there's definitely familial relations. And they also try to do that with like with Julie Melvin. Like the family tried to say like they're not related to her in any way, but like Julie Melvin is Cody Patty's biological aunt. So you can't call Cody your uncle and not say that anybody who's related to him wouldn't be somehow related to you. Even if it's not blood related, you guys are still, there's still a relationship there. That's like saying my mother-in-law, because we're not blood related, I don't have anything, I'm not related to her. You see what I mean? Andrew, thank you so much. Aww, thank you so much. That means so much to me. Thank you. Some other weird family things. So Brad Weber's ex-wife was married to a Westfall. That's another little odd one. I went back really far on both those family trees and could not get that Westfall connected to Patrick Westfall. So even though it was a Westfall, I couldn't find an actual familial connection there. And then there was another. There's a couple other little weird. But I mean, it's tough because like you start to find all of these like connections, but then you're like, it's a town of 3,000 people, so like there's just a lot of fucking connections. Do they mean anything? Not necessarily. Yeah, there's a ton of Westfalls in Indiana. I do. I call this is what I call a family wreath. Abby's is a little simpler, but Libby's is a little complex because you have adoptions, like in and out of Becky Patty's side of the family, and then you have those adopted people end up marrying other adopted people, but they're all still connected in the family. It becomes quite a. There's like you see all the little lines. It's just a mess. Yeah, his ex-aunt is now Libby's grandma. Yes. Okay. Yeah, they divorced, they swap husband. I know, it's like crazy. And my family tree is a mess. We got polygamy. I've got 5 siblings that none are fully related to me and adopted ones. So she's like, so I could feel that. Call any prosecutor's office tomorrow and ask them if it would be a conflict of interest. Give a general scenario without mentioning Delphi. That will give you your legal answer. They brought up a conflict of interest at the very beginning, and nobody seemed to care. Nobody even fought it. I mean, so I don't think that it ended up being a big deal whatsoever. I mean, it is removed, but for him to act like he's so distanced from it just doesn't make any sense. Hey, Michael, we were talking about you earlier. Do you want to come up and talk about the state's response, or no? It's completely up to you. People were wanting to hear what you had to say. Michael says, I think that Holder, Nick McClelland being in the same Mason's Lodge is a bigger problem. Or how about the fact that the oldest kid right after the murders ends up becoming a Mason too? Like, that's kind of crazy. They didn't technically belong to the same Mason's Lodge, but Nick McClelland did get his master Mason at Brad Holder's lodge. Mom, sibling, etc., and first cousins. See, that's the thing. It's like they have a distant relationship. Oh, the other interesting one was Mullen. Mullen's sister. No, so Mullen's brother-in-law, I should say. Mullen's brother-in-law was killed. He was shot dead, and then his house was lit on fire. And this, as the story goes, he was reaching out to other law enforcement saying there was an issue because Mullen knew that his sister was at the crime scene that day. So that's another little side connection to people. We talk about like the Mears farm that's across the street. The Mears parking lot is where everybody gets dropped off, right? And the Mears are actually related to the people who own the funeral home. And the people who own the funeral home were actually at the bridge that day as well. He was there with his daughter. So that's another little side. Oh, yeah, that's okay, Michael. No worries. Just wanted to make sure that the offer was out there. Yeah, McCurdy. It's okay. I've been on for over 2.5 hours anyway, so I'll probably wrap it up here soon.
Minnesota?
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. No, not Minneapolis. He's in Minnesota. Oh yes. So okay. So Fouts is actually related also to the McCurdy, it's Fouts' cousin. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. Hey, Miss. Hey, T in chat. So BH's son Levi had something to do with care of corpses in the military, and also he does work at the funeral home around the time of the murders. Yes, he is a mortician. The irony of the whole thing too is just talk about how weird it is that there's so many people in this death industry that happen to be involved in something around the. Hey, hi, Mike Thomas. Thank you for being here. McCurdy's dad was a deputy back in the day. That's it. I've never been able to understand how McCurdy, the person who is, well, he ended up killing himself supposedly, the one that shot McCurdy and the girl who was living with McCurdy, how in the world, like how that even tied together. Like it's like such a crazy story that they think like he was stalking the girl, but the girl wasn't actually at her house. She was at his house. And how did he know that she was at the house? I know that's a whole nother side story. Where was I going? I was saying something else before that. I was going to say something else.
Teresa.
What?
What the hell page are we on?
We're done.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
I wanted
We're
to
done.
make sure.
We're talking about odd relationships that are like tied into the case. And I was going to say another one, but I don't remember what it was. I don't remember where I was going with it now. We did the Fouts' McCurdy's cousin. Yeah.
It's incestuous for sure.
Yeah. It was Anna Dunham, who was related to Fouts. She was murdered in the house with McCurdy. No, McCurdy is Fouts' cousin. I have it in the family tree. If she was related to Fouts too, that would be interesting. I think I was just saying like the guy who was deemed to have been responsible for their murders, just like it was such a weird situation. Oh, the funeral thing. That's what I was saying was how many people were involved in like death that were at the scene that day. So, involved in the case. So you had Cheyenne, who's also a mortician. And then you have Levi, who's connected to Brad Holder, who was an intern at the funeral home and did do stuff in the military when he went to the military, and now works as like essentially a mortician. It's crazy. What about Shanks? I should try to see if she's connected. I've never looked into anything with the Shanks stuff. A lot of people say that there's something that was related, that possibly related to Ron Logan somehow, but I don't know. I've got nothing. I've got nothing on that. But I also heard that Anna was pregnant at the time who dis. So just a side note. I don't know how true that is. I've never seen like her autopsy. There used to be a channel that was doing all kinds of research on all the fires and the connection and the statistics of how many fires in that area versus like other areas of Indiana and other areas in the state. Yeah, he was there with his daughter at that time, around the same time of the crimes, supposedly. And Carl Abbott, is the one that's related to the Mears across the street.
I like that question.
But I don't know who that is. Who's
you
that?
Don't? Ew.
Do I?
Probably. Let me dig up my screenshots.
Okay. Maybe I do. Levi was made a Mason shortly after the murders. I think like August of that year. That's off memory, so it might be the wrong month, but it wasn't that long. Anna was pregnant. Anna Downham, the one that was in the fire with McCurdy, that was shot and killed with McCurdy. Not to be confused with Anna Williams. Yeah, that was what I heard, was that she was pregnant. I don't know, maybe I don't recognize the name just because I'm thinking of just Kathy Shank in general, you know? Yeah, the Shanks are honor bound to Ron Logan, but I don't know why. I don't know if there's any relationship or not. Me too, Catastrophe. I don't know. I don't know whatever happened. She stopped answering my emails, so I didn't want to bug her. There's an ISP trooper, Weston Shank. He was killed in. Oh, seriously? Is he related? Well, it's sad that he died anyway. One month after Levi was brought in. So yeah. So is Chris Shank connected to Kathy Shank? Couldn't find a link between Chris and Kathy. I feel like this is something I'm supposed to be remembering, but I don't necessarily remember. Okay. I'll have to dig further into it. Allie, yeah, I've messaged Allie, or I haven't for a while now, but I emailed her a while ago, and she stopped responding to my emails. Have you heard from Audrey, aka Sleuth?
I'm
Sleuth
sending you.
Investing.
I'm
Yeah,
sending you.
she's one of my very first mods. I've known her for many years. I have talked to her a couple days ago.
I sent you a DM too with the screenshots.
Okay, let me see. Let me pull it up. The YouTuber, yeah, Allie the YouTuber. She was doing all the statistics on all the fires and everything. She had a great channel. She's the one that Lead Pipe went on with Bob. I gotta pull up Facebook. Hold on.
Is she the one that was reviewing like the Stephen Stern stuff? Or no? I might be thinking of
No,
somebody else.
that's Amber ATS. She had
No,
ATS had a baby.
no, I
Oh,
know
are you
ATS.
talking about Allie Erickson? That's another friend of mine.
Yes, that's what I
Allie
was thinking of.
Erickson. No, she's fine. She's still got her stuff going on.
Oh wait, I think I know what Allie everybody's
Allie,
talking
one
about. The
that,
one that helped him with the.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I don't know what happened to her.
Okay, so I'm allowed to show these. Yeah, unsolved crimes unsolved. Allie.
Yes.
I know people are probably very confused at all the people that I'm talking about. All right, Thomas. Have a good night. Okay, I'm allowed to show these. Right? Yeah. These are not undercover.
What? Oh
I
yeah,
just want to
unsolved
I'm allowed
crimes
to show these,
uncovered.
right?
Yeah.
What?
What?
Am I allowed to show these?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I
that's all
thought
I.
you were talking.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to be. I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she had a baby too, but I thought she was coming back. We're talking about so many people that have the same name. People are like, I don't know who the fuck you guys are talking about anymore. Okay, so sitting here thinking about you, Joe Huddleston. You were always the selfless person, always put your family first. I remember when I got back from Afghanistan. You came to my coming home party. Christopher Shank and myself had got a pony keg. I wasn't able to hold any beer down or food for that matter because I was on those anthrax meds they give you when you come back. You stayed and partied with me and Chris to help us drain the keg. You stayed even though you knew Sheila would be upset. Even though you were my cousin-in-law, I looked to you as a brother. You are my hero. I'll see you in Valhalla. May the mead run strong today because into those halls walks a hero. Okay. Okay, well, I know this picture. Okay, so yeah, I must know this name because I know this picture. So I do know. This is kind of bringing back things to me. Okay, so all these people, tribe matters, tribal life, loyalty is everything, tribe of Gunger's path. I can't even say it right. Gunger's path. Today is National Best Friend Day. Tag your best friend. Oh, it's so cute. It's a best friend. Okay. And so this was liked. Oh no, this is Christopher Schenck is friends with Fred Rogers. And Fred Rogers you know, people are probably trying to connect you guys too. That's funny. That's funny. Look at Michael's got a sense of humor. Okay, so Fred Rogers is the one who interviewed Patrick. Was it Brad Holder or Patrick Westphal?
He's the one that sussed out Holder's alibi, work alibi.
That's right. Okay. He's the one who, yeah, was set to talk to the HR lady.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Chris Schenck is obviously part of the Vinlanders, but we don't know. Nobody has any connection between Christopher Schenck and Kathy Schenck. So that's just a rabbit hole for anybody who wants to go down it, I guess. But then you have Rogers, who's friends with the Vinlanders.
The message that I got was Christopher Schenck is married or whatever to one of Shannon's sisters. I was assuming that meant Shannon Holder. As you see, he's one of Brad's best friends. He was at a lot of their close family functions.
Nobody has that many besties until you're an Odinist. Well, it's also kind of funny, like, how many guys do you know that actually, like, do this whole best friend thing? Like, typically girls do. I don't know if do guys really have best friends? It's like guys, like, have a group of friends, and then girls have, like, a couple of best friends. I've been trying to find out if Kathy and Chris Schenck are related. But I mean, it's still interesting that the person who's tasked with confirming Brad Holder's alibi is friends with the Odinists. I mean, this whole Odin thing is, it's just kind of, it's so interesting to be like how many people like were looked at over the years that actually have like ties to like Odinism, Vinlanders. You know what I mean? Like going back at like after that whole Odin stuff came out, like I didn't realize it was so like prevalent in Indiana. And not to say that they can't have their own little religion or whatever you want to call it, but I mean, I think that we all kind of know that it's more than that. But like Gabe Ellis with his friends, Gabe Ellis was a huge social media suspect for a long time. The Sandefers, Travis Sandifer is friends with Brad Holder. Like, I mean, like close friends. And the Sandefers were looked at for a long time because the one Sandifer was close friends with the girls and was invited to go to the bridge that day. So I don't know. I mean, talk about a reason that everything is like a clusterfuck. People covering for all the people that are in here. Anna Williams is friends with Gabe Ellis, Brad Holder, Patrick Westphal, and Ron Logan. Ironic. There was a huge party at the bridge the night before that people were still there partying at like 6 a.m. and posting it all over social media that they were at the bridge at like 6 a.m. high off their fucking asses. Travis is in a biker club too. True. And so is Libby's uncle, is also in a different biker gang. Not to say that there's anything wrong with being with your buddies in a biker gang, but once again, it's just all very interesting. Yeah, Fred Rogers probably should not have been the one tasked to confirm an alibi of a potential suspect in a double murder of 2 teenage girls. But It is what it is. I think that if people knew who benefited from it not being investigated properly, I think then you'd solve the case. Who benefited from all the bullshit that was put out to the public for 5.5 years before they just decided to arrest Richard Allen? Because half the shit they put out there wasn't even true. And they knew it wasn't true. I believe Queen of the Green. I don't want to say that for sure because my memory says yes, but I don't want to confirm that without doing more research on the history I have.
I mean, I think a lot of people benefited in various ways over all those years.
To just lie to the public and just be like, yeah, this is what we're looking for when we're not actually looking for anything close to that, and then switch it all up and be like, no, we're not looking for that, we're looking for this, and then come together and be like, oh no, we were looking for the same thing the whole time.
Well, you know this. So if someone commits a crime and they essentially like turn themselves into a victim or witness of the crime, and they have knowledge of who committed the crime, generally well, I shouldn't say generally, but they would tend to provide a description that's like the total opposite of the perpetrator. So, for instance, and I was reading this case study or whatever where the girl basically picked everything so two things they'll do. They'll like pick everything opposite, or they provide like the bare basic could literally apply to anybody description. So like a male, 5'10" or taller, with bushy eyebrows and hairy armpits. And it's like, okay. That could be like every man ever.
I can prove that Brad Holder shaved his armpits on February 13th of 2017.
Or they'll be like, I know that I did something, so I'll be like, oh, the person that I saw was black and had blonde hair and was 5 feet tall. Like anything opposite of me.
Right. Somebody brought up Shane Evans. So the other thing about Shane Evans is Shane Evans is actually connected to the Odinism stuff too.
Yeah, I can't even go there.
Because him and Brandon Woodhouse, who's also practicing Odin, were fighting over the same girl.
Like, if he didn't have anything to do with this, I'm sorry, but he is still so suspicious just in general. Like, for anyone that doesn't know, Shane Evans was the mayor of Delphi.
At like 22.
Oh, this is so funny. This is okay. I'm not going to say that I know this, but I'm also not going to say that I disagree. So he was the mayor of Delphi when all this happened. And at some point, Nick took over as the prosecutor. Well, Shane Evans just quit as the mayor. He decided he no longer wanted to be the mayor. It wasn't even the end of his term.
Nope.
And he decided that he wanted to go work with Nick and prosecute this case. So he was on with Nick for years until it came time to actually prosecute the case. And then he became a judge and didn't even prosecute the case at all.
And just think about where all of the funding for his quote unquote campaigns came from.
He's just bizarre. And it felt eerie and even more bizarre when we found out that somebody who said they saw him like sitting in his like judge's chair, basically like practicing.
Oh, it was during was it True Grit Crime? I don't remember, but it was one of those hearings that they all were like waiting in the hall and they were like, you sit there.
Yeah. like pretending to.
He's like
Yeah,
slamming his gavel. It's like nobody in the courtroom.
he was
Hear ye,
practicing.
hear ye. Order in the court. Oh shit. Shane's a whole huge rabbit hole for anybody who ever wants, just in general. There's like so many side things with like the Fouts stuff. He was, because Fouts was was a judge in that area, and then he got in trouble for dealing with what do they call them now? I don't even know what the politically correct term is.
Ladies of the night.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say ladies of the night. So he kind of got caught up with that, and then she went like all over social media and like blasted his spot. There's the whole Kokomo crew side of things. There's the fire side of things. There's just, there's so many rabbit holes.
But also, one could just argue that like he could be young bridge guy.
Yes. Fouts is the hooker one, right? I don't know if you're allowed to say that, but sex workers, yes, that's Fouts. He went straight from law school to being the judge. He went from law school to being the mayor to being the judge to being the prosecutor to being the judge at like 12 years old. And when we were looking into the funding when he was running for judge, it was like all the same donators, all the same people donating like with the Liggett campaign. It was interesting. That's another thing from Allie with her statistics. It's like one day he was just in elementary school, and then he was promoted to mayor. All right, I got nothing else. I'm just talking shit with you guys now. I got nothing else to say. I got nothing else. I got to go pick up a kid here soon from gymnastics. I don't know.
Well, that's fun. Well,
Yeah.
that entire response to the motion was just laughable, and just you almost wonder if he's that incompetent. And I don't think that he is. Like I don't think I've come to the conclusion at this point that he's not like dumb. He doesn't not know how to do his job.
No, he's a master manipulator.
Correct. That's where I'm at.
He took a class in gaslighting. Absolutely. Ugh. So speaking of where I was about to speak of, do you want to trial for Megan Boswell starts tomorrow?
Oh, does it? Did they get a jury today?
Yep, they seated the jury. They sent them home to pack up, and they'll be sequestered as of tomorrow. They said 9 a.m. They're gonna have they're gonna be ready to go.
So
Should we
yeah,
stream it?
yeah. I think you should. I think we should. If tomorrow's the only day that you're like not available,
Thursday is really the day that. Well, I still have to drop off and pick up kids at school during the time.
well, yeah, but otherwise
Thursday,
you're going to be watching it. You know what I mean?
yeah, Thursday I won't be around. That I have that interview.
Oh, the one when I was on the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so exciting. Except
Oh,
also not, because then you'll not be here. But anyway,
is that the real dragon, or is that a fake? I feel like the real dragon has a picture on his YouTube.
I think it's probably just another real dragon.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. So you think should we stream it then? Because I'm gonna need your help to do it. And I hate to like commit to something. I'm just like I'm so commitment phobic when it comes to like saying I'm gonna do this and that, and then I screw it all up.
It's a long one, but like
2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's a long one, but I can help you because like we don't need to be like talking all the time. It's not like we got to keep pausing it like we did, even though that didn't work when we did it last time.
Right.
But if I'm working and I got it pulled up, because I probably would have to have it pulled up on my laptop, I'm assuming. Oh wait, you would be screen sharing, so I could technically be on wherever. Well, no, because I need to be able to have control of it, so I could just keep it.
You'd also need to be because you'd need to be able to, if something happened to the screen share or something, you'd have to be able to share the screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, hi Mark. Well, if it is really you, well, hi. Good to see you.
So I can just put I can, because I can have my other computer just open all day.
Okay. Yeah, I just feel it because like I will have to leave to drop off kids. I will have to leave to pick up kids, but then Thursday's the day that I'll be gone most of the day. So like that's why I hate to put, like, there's a lot of responsibility to put on your shoulders when I know you're like working.
Yeah, but I don't like have to pay much attention to it.
No, you don't.
So,
but it is a trial. They kind of can be distracting.
yeah.
All right, well, I'll set it up. We'll try it and we'll start it out and see what happens. We'll
If
see how
it's a
it
big
goes.
clusterfuck tomorrow, then we just won't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it'll be opening statements. So, really, in general, that's pretty, it should be okay. I doubt they're probably going to do very many, like, witnesses and stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, if we could stream it, I'd rather do that and be able to like talk during the breaks and stuff
Then try to gather all the way at the end of the night.
Yeah, because doing that it's a struggle at night sometimes, trying to get everything together to do the live and go over the day's worth of trial. I'd much rather be able to do the commentary during the day. Hi, Bob. Miss you.
Bob. He's
Okay,
been so busy. I've been catching up on all his appearances.
Yeah, he had what's his name on? Ritter.
I haven't seen that. I'll have to.
Yeah, no, I have to watch that. I know, I got the notification. Tomorrow, Megan Boswell for the murder of her daughter, Evelyn Boswell.
Little baby.
Oh, baby, she's such a little cutie pie. So yeah, we can do it. I don't know many channels that are streaming it. So I think that besides like Court TV and them, I don't know like of YouTubers that are streaming it.
Well, even if nobody tunes in tomorrow, we'll give it a trial run. Okay. See what happens.
All right, we'll do it that way. If for anybody who joined later, you guys, yesterday we did like a 3-hour live on the case against Megan Boswell for everything that we know up to going into trial. So just if you want to learn about the case, you can watch that. If you want to go in not knowing anything and just see what happens at the trial, and determine whether you think she's guilty or not guilty based on that, by all means, just watch the trial. Then it's supposed to last 2 to 4 weeks. Just know, obviously, it's a baby. They keep saying that she was 15 months old, but the reality is that she was born at the end of November, and they think that she actually died at the beginning of December. So she was more like maybe not even 13 months old, but they keep saying 15 months. I don't even know if that's really a big deal, because when she was finally reported missing, she was 15 months old. So
still really shitty. Happy anniversary, Bob.
Happy anniversary, Bob.
A lot of people said they'll be here, so.
Okay. All right. We'll try it, see what happens, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
With Sleuthie's help.
I don't know.
Starts at 9 a.m. Central.
9 a.m. Central. So 10 Eastern.
Yeah, 7 my time.
So, are you going to start on like a delay or real time?
So I leave here at 10 after 7 my time to drop off kids at school. I don't get home until almost a little after 8. So I don't, what do you think?
So we would either be 8, 9, 10, 11. So we would either be starting an hour late, which would give us time to like fast forward through shit. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel like that would be better than being on time. Okay.
So just start when I get home and start with a delay.
Yeah. I would start on a delay because I can't stand waiting. And then everybody's like, you're like, okay, well, you guys can leave and like come back or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, rather than do that, just be on a delay.
We'll just start on a delay, and then I'll only actually have to end up leaving then for kid pickup.
Okay. Do we know when they're like going and like how?
Don't know how long they're gonna. Yeah, I don't know how long they're running court for.
Oh, okay. Maybe we'll find out tomorrow. Well, I'll still join with you.
Watch it with you guys. I really would like to. I'd like to watch all the trials with you guys. I just, like I said, I always feared like the commitment and then screwing you guys over with like, hey, we're not streaming it anymore if we, something happens. I just always feel bad about that. We'll try it. We're gonna do a trial run. We'll see how it works.
Yeah.
It's a case that I followed literally from the day she was reported missing. So of any of the trials to really do it with, it's a very good one for me to do.
And I don't like know anything apart from that one interview that I told you that I saw.
Yeah.
So, but I'm gonna obviously I'll be taking notes like in between stuff. We'll just see.
Yeah, we're gonna do a trial run, pun intended.
Mm. Yeah,
All right,
see,
I'll send
other
this
people
in
have
for
to
Jennifer
drop
when
off
I
that
get
time
home.
too. So
When I get home, we'll start it on a delay and we'll go from there.
perfect.
All right, awesome. All right, love you guys. Thank you, Sleuthy, so much.
Of course.
And all of you guys go enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And thank you guys for being here. I know that you guys have 1,000 other places you can spend your time, and yet you choose to spend your time hanging out with us. And we love you for it. Have a good one.
Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown. Down the rabbit hole. Where it stops, no one knows. We're going Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown.